for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
Racing Revolution's longest night. This win is going to be earned. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, get the popcorn, get the sodas, settle in. This is going to be a thriller. Live from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, it is the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series, presented by Racing Revolution. I'm your host, Morgan Cook. Alongside me, Alex Gagnon, co-commentating this evening.
It's a thrill to be back up here in the booth for some more Racing Revolution action here, Morgan. After a week away, it feels good to be back here at the virtual track, if you will. And we're making up for lost time with no race last week with the longest of the season this week.
And that race tonight, the Chapman ES.com 200 laps. That is not miles tonight, 300 miles around the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. We will get all into that here in just a bit. After a week off for NASCAR's actual 600-mile race, Racing Revolution's Cup drivers will have their shot at a crown jewel. The second one of the year. Let's have a look at the points. Jeremy Burns leads by almost 50 points over Tate McDonald. Rader, Gilbert, Erhardt are your top five. Not much has changed in the point standings. Let's turn our eyes, though, to the 16th, 17th position. That is the cutoff battle. And we are going to have quite a battle there for the top All right, I got some Discord messages here. I'm all confused, all discombobulated. We're going to get back to this here right away. That is look at your points on the screen. Alex, why don't you take it away here? Talk to us about the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, so Charlotte Motor Speedway, famous track here in the heart of stock car racing country. 1.5 miles, 24-degree banking in the corner. This little quad oval here is going to put on quite the show here tonight. This car, especially in the next gen, this track, especially with the next gens, has been so compelling over the past few years. I'd imagine we'll see some of that action here on full display for the Chapman Environmental Series Services Cup Series. These guys know how to race, and I think this track is perfectly suited to see a lot of action throughout the field. And I think we're going to get that tonight, especially over the course of 300 miles. Plenty of time to, if you run into issues early, work your way back through the field, and only the best are going to find themselves at the front here tonight with how long this one is.
That's right. You can tell it was an off week for us at V-Speed here as well. We're doing our best out here. Race analysis on the screen. 200 laps here tonight. 45 miles an hour on pit road. 7 tire sets, and might just use them all. Hard to say. 3 green, white checkers. 2 stages tonight. Laps 50 and 100. Write it down, Alex. I will no doubtedly forget.
Don't you worry, I
iRacing
got it.
fixed setup as always. And with all of that, we got about 30 seconds left until we get to it. Have a look ahead at our schedule. It says off week next week. That will be the All-Star race as far as I am aware. Obviously, last week we were not on the air. All of these drivers found themselves in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Coke 600. And we are going to talk about that all throughout the broadcast. We got some interesting stuff to go through there. But with all that being said,
Behind him, Jeff Israel Jr. rolls off 31st tonight alongside the 14 of Michael Bennett. 33rd, the 77 of Grant Thorpe. Alex Forget in the 19 to his outside. Brandon Richardson rolls off 35th tonight with Joe Goya to his outside. And Chris Nail and Quentin Stewart rolling off 37th and 38th this evening.
and that is your grid this evening. Cars rolling into turn number 3. There they are right there, high above this very foggy Charlotte Motor Speedway. I don't know if that was intended or not, but that might make some race fans a little sore based on what happened on Sunday night.
Added points for realism.
Realism,
A sore spot for a lot of people.
That's why we do iRacing, right, is the realism. Rolling off of turn 4. There's the field inching into the restart zone. And we are green at Charlotte. Looks like Jeremy Burns is going to lead lap number 1. 200 here tonight. Raider up a couple spots. He will find himself in the second position. It's such a long race tonight. These first couple laps, you're trying to just feel out what the car's got, see what the other drivers are going to do, and hopefully make it through the first few and settle in.
Yeah, and especially, first couple laps, you're always trying to get your feet under you, making sure you know what the car is going to do in different scenarios. But I think the added element of not really being able to fully see the track in front of you, not only with all the traffic out there in the 38-car field, but also this fog is going to, I think, play a little bit of havoc in the early going. Looks like everyone's got it going all right so far, but see, actually one car now off the track there, way back in the field.
That's Caleb Gilbert. Connection issues for the 54. He pulled out of line wisely. He was blinking down the front stretch a few laps ago. Doesn't want to get caught up in an accident that he can't get away from due to his internet issues.
Good news for Caleb Gilbert is he has a lot of time to try and work his way back into this race, even if he has to drop to the tail end of the field right now.
If there was ever a time in the longest race of the year to have a problem, it would be lap 1, I would say. Look at this field all spread out. But they have a battle for the lead potentially. Raider trying to make a move to the top side on Burns. I don't know if he's quite going to get there. He will not. Good run off the corner, however. Top 2, Element X Racing.
And don't mind your TVs or computers there, folks. It may look a little fuzzy on screen, but that's also what we're seeing. This fog is it's dense out there. So visibility a little bit limited, especially in the early going here. But you can see just how thick it is coming off of turn 2 especially. I mean, that's got to be really tough coming off the corner there and just staring into a cloud more often than not. As you get a little 3-wide action deeper in the field there, Schaefer splitting the difference between a couple of cars. He's going to move up on ahead. Schaefer up 2 spots from where he started.
Look on board with Tane McDonald, you can see exactly what we're talking about. It looks okay from in the car, but looking across the backstretch, it is pretty hazy at this particular part of the racetrack. You can have issues seeing turn 3 and 4 from here, just due to that thick fog. 99% relative humidity is what we're at in this session right now, so some would say similar to Sunday night in Charlotte.
That virtual crowd, if they had to describe how they're feeling on the way home tonight, it will be sticky. There is just a whole lot of moisture in the air out there right now. That's also going to play havoc for the cars as this race goes on. I mean, cars at the end of the day, maybe not built to be driving through a rainstorm. I can't imagine a humidity cloud that thick would be much better. As you see now, Raider going to the high side here, trying to get a run on Burns for the lead. Gonna maybe look to his inside, but Burns closes it off, and the 53 machine gonna have to try and work his way to the outside here in 1 and 2.
This was an issue I had in my official Coke 600s this weekend, was after about this amount of time in the run, the lines would heat up. The bottom would get hot and the top would get hot, and it just got greasy to drive on it and difficult to maneuver. So I'm curious to see how these drivers are able to handle it. I did not handle it well at all, but I imagine these drivers would be much better suited for this than I was just a few days ago.
Got a good bit of action going on just behind that with Erhardt and Alves. You see looking into that battle for 4th. I mean, they've been side by side a couple of laps here. That 41 machine of Erhardt going the right direction as he runs right now.
It says down 2 from where he started. I don't know if that's exactly. Did he start second?
Unless you qualified. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm got him mixed up with Robinson. That might be my bad.
Again, we had a week off. We shouldn't take weeks off. We're rusty up here. Doing our best, though. A little farther back in the field. Harrison, bit of an issue on the top side. He is back to the 20th spot in that bright pink number 45. Fighting alongside Hughes Jr.
One of the few cars to really get all the way up to that outside wall in the early going. We've seen cars run the low side, that middle side, and like up toward the wall, but still leaving a lane. Harrison's been way up to that wall in 3 and 4. Different strategy though here in 1 and 2, dives all the way down to the bottom. He seems to be really experimenting early on here, trying to find what lane his car works best and how he can get around the 84 in front of him.
My best guess is
Nothing
he's just
working so
looking
far.
for the cool part of the racetrack where there's a lot of grip in it. Track temp right now is only 72 degrees, but it'll get hotter, especially on those specific lines like I was talking about. Make the car handle not great. Still 2x2 up
look
here
at
at the
that.
front.
No place to really sort this out. Travis Gilbert tried making a space for himself. Almost ended up pretty bad for a lot of cars there, but everyone gets it corrected and they're moving in the right direction still. That 22 on that inside lane was trying to force his way to the outside, now finds himself out there. As Holloway trying to get that low side to work, trying to get around, I believe, the 15 of Keith here. Looking like he might get some momentum through the corner, but just completely loses out in the backstretch. You can just see how much more throttle you can carry on that high side in this side-by-side comparison as we're on board with Al Likens here. And you'll see down this front stretch as well just how much more speed him and the 15 can carry compared to Holloway.
On board with the new look. Al Likens in that 40 blacked out this week. Look at that. Good looking ride right there. Got to make something happen there from the 10th position. Raiders falling back a little bit. Might have burned the stuff up. He's back to the 4th position. Working on Johnston. As Burns continues to lead. Led every lap, I believe, to this point. I would say that's accurate.
That he has. He's been pretty good up at the front of the field so far. You know, he's been just steadily turning away laps here. And that's the advantage of being on pole at a race like this. You get an opportunity to get a lot of time up in clean air. But leading the opening 15 isn't going to mean a whole ton in the grand scheme of things with how long tonight's race is. He's got to be able to maintain that momentum both in clean air and in traffic, because you're probably going to find yourself in both over the course of this event tonight. So I'm curious to see if the 9 machine would handle being in dirty air as well as he does being up at the front of the field. Because we're seeing cars like the 22 of Travis Gilbert continue to work his way up toward the front of the field here, despite having to work through piles of traffic in front of him, but now has driven his way into the top 5 over the opening 17 laps.
Up 7 spots for the driver of the 22. One of the highest movers of the race. We had to look at that. I'm trying to find those numbers. Michael Bennett is up 8. Bourget is up 9. Chris Nail is up 7. Hughes also up 8. Those are your biggest movers of the race. Drivers not having a great time right now. Caleb Gilbert is down 19 with connection issues. Carter Linz is down 7 from his starting position. And Jake Williams Sr. is down 8 from where he started.
Yeah, but with this opening stage being 50 laps and you're only a quarter of the way through when you hit that point, a lot of time to kind of get comfortable, get your car corrected, and get it sorted out. As we see Trevor Erhardt here. You know, he was on that front row, fell back a little bit, now finds himself back up in second, trying to chase down Burns. Got a good run down the back straightaway there, and he's going to close that gap a little bit more, the back bumper of the 9.
Yeah, it's not time to wave the panic flag quite yet. We're so early in this race, only 10% at this point in time. It's going by reasonably quickly, as you would expect, a green race at Charlotte would. These guys are very good at what they do. But if it's not handling quite right, you don't feel the way you want to feel, it's okay. You got time to figure it out. And by lap 100, everyone here is going to have this place memorized in the back of their head. Wall
really
contact
oh,
there
a
for
little
the
bit of a
41.
wall contact there for the 41. Yeah, he got a good piece of that outside wall off of 4. As we're now seeing cars making their way down pit road. That's Wayne Lowe in the 34. Going to be the first car to bring it down pit road. I guess he can't make it to the end of the 50-lap stage. May as well try and get the early stop. Curious to see if that spurs anyone else to try and jump down pit road really early here.
I think they can make it to the end of the stage, which is why that's a bit of a curious move to me. If I'm not mistaken, you can go about 60 laps on fuel here if we're running 100% fuel, which I believe we are in this series. So I don't know if that's just trying to split the stage and get better tires and maybe leapfrog guys at the end of this stage, but that's an interesting strategy for Wayne Lowe. Big gaggles of cars here at Charlotte. So much side by side, you can't even catch it all on this screen.
Yeah, everywhere we look, there's just more side-by-side action. It's honestly incredible stuff to watch. But also, I know for some of these drivers, you get a little antsy being like, why are we already side-by-side, like battling as fiercely as we are when there's still so much time to go on this race? I think there'd be a little more give than there is out there right now. But people are seeing this as the opportunity to try and make moves, especially that 19. Forget, man on a mission right now.
Nail and Orlando come to pit road as well. Not sure what the strategy is at this point in time. Maybe they aren't 100% fuel. Maybe that was mistaken on that. We're going to find out after all these drivers end up hitting, whenever they do. Yeah, Forget, as you mentioned, up 13 spots. Bennett's following him through. He's up 10 in that 14 slurp. So does car on the bottom. Hudgens is down 9. That 84 struggling a little bit here at Charlotte. 51 coming down pit road this time.
Yeah, watch that one happen in real time. He'll get that thing slowed down and get inside pit lane. Same deal there with the 45 of Tyler Harrison. So cars slowly trickling down pit road here, about 2 or 3 a lap over the past 5. Going to start making some interesting fuel strategy situations, or tire strategy situations over the course of this stage. As there's going to be a lot of cars with fast tires. You see now,
Raider
the
and
first cars
Burns.
from the front, Burns and Raider. Running 1-2 most of
Oh,
the
here
day.
comes most of the field. There's the 19. Saw him. It's the 84, the 14, the 6. Bunch of cars on pit road right here. I think everyone's going to be coming here soon.
Splitting the stage in half, yeah. Because lap 26 would be the halfway point of that 50-lap stage. So now Travis Gilbert's inherited the lead. Will he keep it? No, he's going to peel down pit road as well. Same deal with Trevor Erhardt, who launched it in there to try and gain some ground.
That was an aggressive pit road entry. You can see all those cars on pit road right now. Linz is one of them. I see Murphy in there. That's Trevor Keith. Hughes Jr. Is that Alves, I believe, as well? Yeah, that is Alves in the 24. Following Erhardt down pit road. Parker Johnston takes over the lead. And he's coming down this time.
Not long. Now Tay McDonald will inherit the lead temporarily in that 29 machine. He's got a pretty good run going. Obviously, he's gained some position through the pit cycle here, but you know, it's always good to find what your car can do in a little bit of clean air, even on 27-lap-old tires. Curious to see, though, if he decides now that he's got the lead, if he brings it down this time or if he's going to let it roll for a bit.
This time he comes in
as well.
Loveland right behind him, too.
Nice entry from Loveland to gain some ground on the 29 there.
Candyman as well. Cameron King behind him. Yes, he is. So is Peyton Presley in the 7. That leaves Al Likens not to pit. Same with Robinson. They are side by side for the lead at the moment. We got, what, 16 or so drivers who have not hit pit road? Less than that now, 10. Likens, Robinson, Schaefer hasn't hit pit road. Robinson's in this time. Diaz coming in right now. Thorpe staying out on the racetrack. Wait for timing and scoring the cycle here for a second. Jackson McGeorge stays out. So does Bresnock. Grant Turner. That is the 7 drivers who have yet to hit pit road.
We also just saw Wayne Lowe on the screen a second ago. He's the first car who came down pit road He's also the first car currently scored a lap down. And that yellow number 34, black and yellow 34, slowly starting to work through the leaders here, trying to get his lap back, nearing Al Likens here in the next couple of laps most likely. Those fresh tires just got him around Grant Thorpe, and you can see the difference here on 20 lap fresher tires as he just flies past.
And that's 20 lap pressure right side tires. He only took 2 on the pit stop, so did Justice Murphy. Everyone else, Trevor Keith also took 2. Everyone else took 4 setting up for the end of this stage. I believe I saw Bresnock hit pit road just now. He sure did. So did Thorpe in the 77.
Al Likens continues the lead, one of the only cars yet to come down pit road. You can see Wayne Lowe in the distance, closing that gap to getting his lap back. That would just get him back on the lead lap, but when everyone comes down pit road, Lowe would inherit the lead.
Likens in this time.
And with that, Christian Schaefer takes the lead, but Wayne Lowe back on the lead lap and making up ground in a hurry.
A lot of this field has their stomach in a knot. Anything goes wrong right now, pit entry, pit exit, somebody spins, whatever the case may be, there will be 6 cars on the lead lap plus the wave around. That would, I think that would scare a lot of this field very early in this race.
It certainly would not be ideal as you see Schaefer peeling down. Looks like he gets into his box okay. Same deal with 10. 39 of Turner down and then as well. Which means Wayne Lowe about to inherit the lead here for the first time tonight. He's got a nice, healthy couple-second gap over Travis Gilbert. You could see that backstretch. A whole gaggle of cars fighting for what will be second in just a moment. But right now, it looks like Wayne Lowe in control here as we near 15 to go in stage 1.
Let's try that again now that Wayne Lowe is the leader. There's a look back at Gilbert. 2.2 seconds and growing is the gap between the 34 and the 22. 15 laps to go in the stage.
Normally, taking 2 tires over a longer run is a recipe for long-term loss, but if they continue to battle for 2nd through 6th like this, you know, it might be a different story, and he might be able to buy some time, but I think the big loser through all of this so far has been Jeremy Burns, who started with the lead before the pit cycle, now finds himself 5th. Going to try and get around Justice Murphy here, who's also only on the 2-tire call. But right now, the pole sitter marred back in a bit of traffic, and this is what we were talking about earlier there, Morgan, with how well is that 9 going to handle in dirty air versus out front.
Good test session at this point of the race. Only 35 laps in. You're going to have a break in 15 laps guaranteed. So burn the wheels off of it. Come back in for tires and see what you learned under these conditions.
Travis Gilbert reeling in that number 34 machine in a hurry, but here goes Raider with a power move to the inside. They're leaning on each other. Holy cow. Absolutely door-to-door there through 3 and 4. Can't imagine either driver super happy about that, especially the 22. Burns trying to find his way on through. It is pandemonium here for 2nd. Everyone darting around. Looks like some of these restarts you'd see at the Indy 500.
Yeah, Burns almost put it 3 wide there on his teammate and Gilbert. That could have been a disaster in the tri-oval. Quad oval. Sorry, chat. Anyway, that 9 is on a mission on the top side. Going to try and go get this 2nd spot as they are very quickly closing in on your leader. It's under a second up to Wayne Lowe in that bright yellow car. Making 2 or 3 more laps, and they're probably going to be right in his lap.
Yeah, and you'd imagine if you're Travis Gilbert or Jeremy Burns, you want to have this battle for 2nd dealt with before you reach the leader. As you see Keith now looking to the inside of Raider just behind him. This whole pack of cars gaining on the leader, Wayne Lowe, right now. It's going to be interesting to see whenever they hit him, they'll be going a little bit faster, but it's not often you get to say you're using the leader as a pick, but here comes 2nd through 6th. We're all looking to try and blow past the 34. Gilbert looks like he's going to try up high, but they're not going to catch him until at least turn 3.
I'd still have to think, as long as nothing goes terribly wrong for the 34, this was a absolutely brilliant strategy call. Going to net him a bunch of spots and possibly stage points for what I think would be the first time this season the 34 would end up with stage points if things end the way they look like they will. Back to fourth right now, just on virtue of having those older tires. 6 laps older than the rest of this top 5 as well. He's only got 2 of them.
Yeah, I think that's been the big difference here as he starts to fall back a little bit. But the 12 of Justice Murphy being able to hold firm there in the draft as well. He's running third right now. He's up a good bit of spots as well as he tails the leaders Gilbert and Burns.
The hard part about 2 tires is, depending on which 2 you take, usually you take 2 right side tires, is it frees you up quite a bit. And this is a track and this is a car that's snappy loose as it is at Charlotte. So 2 right sides would loosen you up, 2 right sides would tighten you up. So depending on what you were struggling with before, you could help the balance of the car, at least on the short term.
Now you see Murphy maybe looking to the inside of Burns. Gonna try and take second away as Travis Gilbert, who took the lead a couple laps ago from Wayne Lowe, starting to find a little bit of clean air out there, starting to pull away just a little bit as these guys stay side by side. Travis Gilbert up from 12th, the first here in the opening stage. That 22 not messing around in the early going, man. He has looked really sharp tonight.
Very fast that 22 Mustang has been. There he is leading by 3.5 tenths over Jeremy Burns, who has finally cleared the 12. We're going to try and take the fight to the leader. We got about 8 laps to go until the stage is over. Points awarded for the first of 3 times tonight. Stage 1, stage 2, and then the race finish, if you're following what I'm putting down, Alex.
Sometimes I'm not, but that time I absolutely am. As you see back here, battle between Wayne Lowe and Nick Alves. Alves goes on by. That 34 car had the lead at the end of the pit cycle as he was the one who kicked it off. He's fallen back to 9th. Those older tires clearly ailing him. But so close to the end of the stage here, I think he'll still have a net positive from where he started the pit cycle.
And he might be able to keep on this top 10 and get those stage points. You see the 48 behind him, but it's a pretty good gap back to the 49 and the 02, who are fighting hard to try and get up to this 34 and get a stage point, finishing 10th in this stage. A little further back, Forget, 1 lap down. Not exactly sure what happened to Alex. Well, that is not where he wants to be. These guys are dog fighting back here. Forget is currently scored as the last driver in this race. A little bit of damage on the left front of that 19. We're going to have to keep an eye on that throughout the rest of this race.
Back up front, Justice Murphy just refusing to let Jeremy Burns hold on the second. Murphy slides on by for a second. What a great drive in the early going here for Murphy. He was way up in positions as well. Used a little bit of pit strategy to get to the front of the field and is holding on to it tenaciously here. As just behind them, you also have this great battle with Keith and Rader. As this, they've been battling for the better part of the past 10 laps as well. These guys found each other at the end of the pit cycle, and outside of Travis Gilbert getting a little bit of free real estate up front, the rest of these 4 have refused to let each other get away.
I think what you can learn from all of this is that it's hard to pass out here tonight. Every driver is doing a really good job of running their line, whether it's the top or the bottom or whatever have you. I mean, Burns all the way scraping the outside wall. You got Murphy down there ripping the bottom, and they come off the corner, and they're almost a dead heat down the back. Might clear this time for the 9. Murphy's going to squirt the throttle back to get to his door. And they're side by side again, and that is Charlotte. Yeah.
Oh, man, nearly making contact with each other off of 4. But you could see the 12 of Murphy just has such good rotation through 3 and 4. And even though he'd have to get off the throttle more to make that corner, he just continues to wheel that thing on the throttle and gains a ton of time. As you see, he gets around Burns once again. Burns pushing him down the back straight a little bit, now looking to the outside again. It's a great battle going on for second here. Jeremy Burns, I'm sure, a little frustrated he can't get around the 12 right now, but Murphy like an absolute pit bull out there. The moment he gets past, he gets right back around them, and then he just holds up like a wall, preventing that 9 from making any forward progress. And despite the battling, they are closing in a little bit on the leader, Travis Gilbert.
They better close in faster. Only 2 to go. Come back around this time, receiving the white flag of the stage, if I'm not mistaken. Conclusion of lap 50. Gilbert leads, Murphy second, then Burns, Keith, Rader, your top 5. McDonald, Erhardt, Alves, Johnston with the T. Loveland are your top 10. Unfortunately, Wayne Lowe down to 17th position. He might not net out as high as we thought he would. Battles on for the stage win, however. Murphy's chasing down the 22. Is he going to get there? It's going to be close. Probably needed one more lap. Travis Gilbert is going to win stage 1 at Charlotte.
It's a great drive for the opening going here for the 22. As now we see the caution lights turn on here, marking the end of stage 1. Travis Gilbert takes the stage, going 12th to 1st in the opening 50 laps. Murphy and Burns 2nd and 3rd. Tell you what, if the next 150 are like the first 50, we're in for a treat tonight.
We sure are. A lot of 2 wide battling, a little bit of 3 wide here and there. Big movers, big followers throughout this race so far. Just a really good showing. Tires matter clearly. Able to see Wayne Lowe rise and fall throughout that run. Curious to know what the actual fuel number is, but that's something we're going to have to learn about after pit stops. Maybe we can ask one of these drivers once we are pacing. We're going to bring them down pit road. I believe this time Travis Gilbert will lead them down. See what we get off of pit road. I love these long style, oval races. Coke 600, Southern 500, Daytona 500. Those are just the races I really enjoy, these crown jewels, and we're witnessing one right here for Racing Revolution. Chapman, ES.com, 200. Thrilling to this point. Here are all the drivers down pit road.
Like an absolute swarm making their way on down as you see them start to peel into their box. Huge opportunity to gain or lose spots here on pit road as everyone is stopping. Curious to see if Wayne Lowe is able to bounce back here after falling back a little bit. He's going to have to put 4 tires on, but I guess in the grand scheme of things, save 2 tires on most of the field as Gilbert's going to get out just ahead of Murphy. Murphy's going to beat Rader off pit road. A slow stop for Burns. Burns losing a ton of ground.
Yeah, something's going on with that first pit box. That's 2 times here. He's lost a lot of ground on a pit stop sequence. We're going to have to figure out what's going on there. Wayne Lowe, 31st. Not a good sequence for him. I think the gamble was worth it. But if anything, just for the knowledge that it possesses, that 2 tires is going to work for probably 15 laps. But any longer than that, you're going to be in trouble because I think they caught him with about 10 laps to go in the stage. While we have a minute, we're going to do something a little special. We mentioned we were off last week for this Racing Revolution Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. The reason why these drivers found themselves in Charlotte, North Carolina. Vast majority of them, 25 of them if I'm not mistaken. Here are some pictures from their trip. There's a lot of those drivers right there. I don't know what you call that, the walleye vision camera? I'm not really sure. Is that a drone? Hard to say. This is the Hall of Fame, I believe, their simulators. Some go-karts at Trackhouse. I have it on good authority. Alex Forget stole the win from Nick Alves in turn 6 on the final lap, and there's a good picture in Victory Lane, all of the different drivers in this league who met up in Charlotte, North Carolina. Cool moment for those guys to meet in person, something not a lot of us get to do when it comes to iRacing and the virtual world. So congratulations to them and good on them for all making that time to go meet each other.
And not only was it like, it wasn't just like 4 or 5 of them got together like, hey, it'd be fun. Like, they got 25 people together at one place at one time. That is something special. That is hard to do. It seemed like they had an absolute blast. It's cool. I mean, it's more than half the league who all got together. Like, hey, you know, it'd be a really fun time. Let's go to Charlotte this weekend. I mean, it's just crazy stuff, honestly, but I'm sure they all had a blast, and now they get back to business here at the virtual Charlotte to race each other virtually, as they've done so many times before, and get to do plenty more times this season, with this being only around the halfway mark of the regular season.
I could not imagine all of the logistics around getting everybody there, all of the travel plans and all that. That would just be wild to be a fly on the wall of all those conversations. And I bet also being with 25 of your friends would make the sting of what happened Sunday night a little bit easier. You know, between not getting to see Larson drive because of the weather and the race being called off, to the just awful wait times that they had at the end of that race, calling it after 600 kilometers. But that is neither here nor there. I'm sure they had a great time. Everyone I talked to said they had a good time. And they're very excited for this race, 300 miles at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway,
which will be only about 70 miles short of how long the actual NASCAR Cup Series race went this weekend. So they're doing about the full length as they got to witness on Sunday. But we are stacked up 2 by 2 here with the lights out on the pace car. Travis Gilbert electing to take the outside lane. Grant Turner to his inside. Justice Murphy and Robert Rader, row 2.
Grant
39,
Turner,
we haven't seen him up front too much here. Curious to see what he's got up at the front of the field.
as usual, stays out
Oh my
early in the
God.
race. Yeah, his room's
room's
on
on
fire.
fire.
It's on fire.
Holy cow.
There's a look at the driver of the 39. Right there, Grant Turner. Gonna lead this field into the restart zone. But yeah, that is really quite something to look at.
I feel like it would almost be distracting having something that bright behind you.
He has assured me it's not.
That is just wild. As you see, he takes the lead here through 1 and 2. Got a great jump. Will slide up in front of the 12. Maybe not. Thought he was going to slide up in front of the 22 of Gilbert. Elects to stay down low. Gilbert going to work his way back on the high side, lunging in there.
Be 3 wide
Murphy
from the lead here
all
if
the
we're not
way up to
careful.
the wall. Yeah. Wild action here on the restart. Everyone fanning out, finding their little bit of real estate now that the track cool off just a hair. And now Gilbert and Turner are going to go door to door here for the lead.
Side by side, 22 on the top. He might just clear off. He does absolutely clear off a turn 2. 39 is going to fall like a rock on those 20-lap older tires. I am not envious of the driver of the 39 at this moment. Hopefully he is able to hang on to it, as these drivers are going to swarm him very quickly. You can see it's 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through this field. In fact, little 3 wide back there with Harrison through the tri-oval. Saw him up in the outside wall. This is just how wild this racing is right now. You can't tell where anybody is. You see them in front of you. You don't know if they're beside you. You don't know if they're behind you. There's drivers everywhere. 3 wide again, potentially, out of turn 4.
Looks like the 84 had to back off a hair. So you look a little farther up. Tay McDonald now clearing the 39 of Turner. Rader going to look to do the same. But he's got who else but the 15 to keep his outside. These two cars, I feel like, have been glued to each other since the green flag pit cycle last time around. But the 15 going to get a huge push from Jeremy Burns. The 9 sent him down that back straightaway. Look at this mess through 3 and 4.
That was just about a big
Hudgens
caution.
bailing down to the bottom.
Into turn 3, 84 into the door of, I believe it was the 8. And they were wiggling all the way down the backstretch into turn 3, moved up the racetrack. Everyone gave him room. But that could have been a huge caution middle of this field. Right now, driving to the 19th position is the 84 of Devin Hudgens.
Man, it takes a lot of patience and a lot of control to be 2-3 wide lap after lap like that and not put it in the fence or bump into somebody. It's just, it's a tough situation there because there's just no real estate out there on these restarts.
Oh, 3 wide in the
Gotta go out
grass.
there and make it pass in the grass from Rader. goes on by Turner. Now the entire inside line gonna have to try and sort their way around the 39 here. Johnston, the big loser there, gets trapped behind Grant Turner. Gonna have to try and push him forward here into 3.
Yeah, that'll get
What
the
a
heart rate up a
move
little bit.
From Raider.
When you just dive it through the grass, it's actually not grass, it's turf. So it doesn't hurt the car, it just gives you a little 1x for your troubles. But no harm, no foul there for the 53 as he goes all the way around the 39. He's checked out the whole inside line as Grant Turner.
Yeah, Robinson and Alves going to make their way on past Turner. Sure, that inside line with Johnston there and the 27 of Orlando, they're a little frustrated to be trapped on the wrong side of things here. The 48 went up top just as the 49 had to get out of the throttle.
Oh,
he's boxed in
huge
3
wall
wide.
contact.
Thorpe
Oh,
in
they're
the wall.
wrecking.
Oh, they're spinning.
There goes the
The
49.
49 up into the outside wall. Thorpe collected as well.
Oh,
Caution's out.
that is
No,
an
it's not. There it is. Okay. there
awful
it is.
break for the 77. Got put in the wall, then got his nose taken off. An incident he had nothing to do with. Let's go back and figure out what happened to cause this incident.
Trying to navigate the quad oval 3 wide can sometimes be so tough because it's basically a pinch point. It's really tough to navigate who's going where through there because you cannot turn as fast as the track does there. So you see Johnston gets up finally to the outside lane around Turner. Just as the 49 has to check up behind Alves. Both of them get kind of sorted out as Orlando Jr. gets into the mix. And Thorpe hit the wall, thought he was fine, and then everything below him gets bottled up. The 49 ends up collecting them, and then it gets a little uglier there for the 77 after that.
I think the cause of that incident, what happened was, I don't think the 48 quite realized they were 3 wide until the 77 got in the outside wall. There's a look at that very damaged Grant Thorpe machine.
Oh,
That
boy.
is probably not repairable. The right front's not supposed to do that, folks, if you're watching at home. But I think what happened is the 48 came down a little bit to try and, avoid the 77 and ended up clipping the 49 around. He went. Innocent bystander is the 77, but everybody is going to pit here except for Erhardt, I believe, stayed out. Erhardt may be a lap down. Not sure what's going on here. Timing and scoring is all wonky here, these long races. Doesn't like it. Race off pit road. See if you can spot your favorite driver in the frame.
And if you didn't see him there, it's probably because either you're rooting for the 41 of Erhardt or your driver was collected in that incident and was back further down pit road making repairs because basically every other car came down to get some fresh tires and fuel. They should be good, both tires and fuel-wise now, I'd imagine, to make it to the end of stage 2 here in about 35 laps. It'd be a bit of a stretch, but at least on the tires, but since everyone came down at once, I'd imagine that's everyone's goal is to try to make it to the end of stage 2 here.
I would think that's a pretty good goal to have, is to be able to make it to the end of this stage and then 1 or 2 stop the final stage and move on to the checkers. With that being said, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You have been watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series, presented by Racing Revolution. The ChapmanES.com 200. Back right after this.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count after 37.
Oh!
The wheel gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from?
Here
comes Swack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here on V-Speed, high above the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Drivers moving into the choose at this moment. Gonna pick where they want to restart for this run. You can see Erhardt to the bottom, Burns going to the top, a little further back in the field. Let's see. Some of these drivers around the 17th spot are thinking that's Hudgens and Turner we're having a look at right now. Bottom, bottom, top, top, as you would expect. And they have to come to almost a complete stop back here in the 30s where Jeff Israel Jr. finds himself. His season just has not turned around. I really feel for the driver of the 6. Every time he has a good run, it gets snatched away from him. It's some damage on the right side of this 6 machine. See it right here. We'll scrape behind the number.
You know, he has had, to your point, a lot of decent runs over the course of the season. It's just for whatever reason, the finish and the run don't seem to match a lot. And it's put him in a bit of a hole here, at least compared to where his average running position is. Although tonight has some work to do as he finds himself way back in the field on this restart, restarting back in 27th.
Good news, still a long race, not even halfway yet. I'm sure these drivers are wishing it was halfway. It's a long time to sit in your sim rig and do the same task, especially when you're surrounded by other cars. Makes life pretty difficult sometimes. But let's have a look. Your biggest movers of the race, as we are still going to pace for one more lap. Justice Murphy is up 15 positions. Brandon Richardson in the 8 is up 25 spots.
Whoa, big move there from the 8.
Chris Nail is up 22.
Nice.
Grant Turner up 13.
Very fun.
Those are your biggest movers. Peyton Presley also up 10. Good run for that car. Drivers not having terrific moments at this point. Parker Johnston down 11. Christopher Schaefer also down 11. Caleb Gilbert is down 12. Candyman down 21 and still on pit road. Daryl Johnson caught up in that last accident. He is down 18 spots tonight.
It is worth noting, especially with Caleb Gilbert, you know, he is down 12 from where he qualified, but he is up 7 from where he ran most of that first stage. He had those connection issues that dropped him to the rear of the field. It looks like he's still maybe having some of those issues. So doesn't seem like the internet has corrected itself for the 54. So he is up a few positions, and if just by the nature of attrition, if he's able to stay out of trouble, he might still be able to net some decent points from tonight's race. But I'm sure it's frustrating to be out here logging laps knowing you can't really do a ton of battling without risking yourself or another car out there.
The pace car is off the racetrack onto pit road. Earhart brings them down to the restart zone, and we are green, lap 68 at Charlotte. Good launch by the 41. And they're side by side behind him. Burns trying to make a move. See if he can get up there. Regain that second spot. Not going to happen off of turn number 2, however.
Move there from Robinson to close off that outside lane. You see Burns having to slide back in. He's going to keep battling with Murphy. Those two cars were fighting tooth and nail for second at the end of stage 1. And now they're both on the same tire strategy here. So curious to see who's going to get the better of who as they remain door to door through there. Meanwhile, Al Likens inserting himself into the picture as well. He's in 5th and looking for more. He might try and make this a 3-car battle for 3rd if he can get around Keith, but a great run there from the 15. He'll move back up there. It's Trevor Keith having a really solid run tonight. So far, been hanging around the top 5 basically all evening long.
Wall contact for Likens.
Slide there from Murphy.
Off of turn number 4, caught the outside wall pretty good. Don't know if that's going to damage the car or not. He's ripping the top lane, though. Getting all its worth out there right up against the fence. See if he can get a good run here. Off of 2. Looks like he will get up to the back of the 12. You see way back there, Gilbert off the racetrack again, still having connection issues. Really needed for the 54 as he was probably going to be pretty quick here tonight.
Al Likens up the 4th and continuing the move as the thing's getting really dicey there. Carter Linz nearly found himself in the fence. Going to be able to hold on to it to the outside there. Tay McDonald, Nick Alves battling just ahead of him. 66 has had an adventurous opening 72 laps.
Raiders going to drive it down deep. On the 12, he's going to make it stick somehow. Don't know how he was able to make that move. He gained like 4 spots there just on the backstretch alone. Got a lucky break. He's going to move himself all the way to the 5th position. Is the 53. Lycan side by side with Burns for 3rd place.
Al Likens taking it away. That 40 on a mission right now to the front of the field. Just Erhardt and Robinson separating him from the lead as Likens continues that march. Meanwhile, I mean, look at this absolute mess behind him. 3 wide through the quad oval. Look at that. Chris Nail on the inside. Trevor Keith trying to split the difference between him and the 8 of Brandon Richardson.
Would not recommend this at home, folks, but here we are. Oh, that was a self-clear if I've ever seen one. 15 over 22. Yikes. Oh, 22 in the side of the 48. We're still trying to wreck back here.
It's a miracle all those guys stayed pointed forward that lap. The amount of close calls and contact we saw.
This could be a race in Atlanta.
22, all in the middle of it.
Never mind
Absolutely
Charlotte. All this
crazy action here. Look at this.
All this pushing and 2 wide and 3 wide. You could tell me where at Atlanta. I would think you're right.
Diaz to the inside.
Yeah, 26 making moves. Compromised exit here. Going to be right in front of the 61. You might do something here into turn number 1. Maybe not. Right behind him. As Raiders made his way up to 3rd. Burns back to 5th. Not sure what's going on with the Mountain Man. Kind of an abnormal night for him. He usually doesn't lose track position. He's a forward-moving kind of driver. This is out of the ordinary for the 9. But Likens having a great run. Going to see if he can take the lead here on the 1. So we work 25 laps until the end of stage number 2. We set up for the finish. Crossover.
Oh, he's got a nose to the inside as well, diving in. Al Likens, can he find a way to get that one last spot?
Big time
Robinson
tight in the
says
center,
no,
though. He's going to lose a
time.
lot of spots. A lot of ground here. Had to lift in the center to not hit the 1. Check up the whole inside lane. This is some aggressive driving for lap 80, not even lap 80 of 200.
Raider goes on by. Loveland trying to do the same. Here comes Burns back into the picture. I mean, it is an absolute hornet's nest in the top 10 right now. Positions getting traded left and right. Look at, I mean, if you're Robinson, I think you're just happy to see all this happening behind you and not alongside you. And it is chaotic back there.
And drivers all over the racetrack. Up against the wall, out on almost on the apron in some spots. This has just been a really impressive drive. A lot of these drivers on the ground camera to look through this field. Top 4 single filed out. Burns in 5th, door to door with McDonald. Likens now under fire from Loveland as they drag race off of turn 2. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. There's so many cars here. One slip from anyone, and this will be a shocking result. Battle for the lead.
Raiders
Robinson
going
under
for
fire.
the lead. Here comes Robert Raider trying to take away that spot. We're going to take the lead here tonight. Trying to pry it away from Matt Robinson.
Not going to clear off
Robinson,
a
though,
2.
not going to give it away. Here he comes back on the outside. Full car length run. And from half back to half ahead. Now we'll clear him back up front, opening the door for Al Likens to try and jump on the high side. But denied by the 53. 3 wide farther behind him. Door contact there with McDonald and Burns. They got into each other there in the quad oval, and then Burns clipping the wall outside of 1.
And Burns got a little
All
bit of the
3
wall,
wide again.
like you said there, but we just about had an issue with the 0-2. Got a little tight through 1 and 2, as the tires will do this deep into the run. Oh, Burns just cleared across the nose of the 22. Down into turn 3. 3 wide behind him.
Look at that mess behind it. Holy cow. Kyle Diaz flies on by, gets around Trevor Keith, but that was dicey. Still dicey. The 48 consistently finds himself in the middle of these 3 wides.
Oh, that was just about it. He just about got turned by Schaefer on the bottom. Almost turned Linz a little bit ago. We are playing, I don't even know what we're playing right now. Tag, I guess, with the corners of these cars. I'm very surprised nobody's been spun around by this sort of racing in these packs, but driving the wheels off these cars with closing in on 15 to go in the stage.
I don't know where Kyle Diaz restarted, but I do know he is up a ton of positions from where he did. That 26 is driving really nice right now, as we're on board here with the 15 of Trevor Keith.
There's a look at the one they call TK. Down 2 spots where he started. Still very much in the hunt for this win. Battle for the lead. Tay McDonald alongside Robinson. Raider fell back a little bit. Got the tires a little too hot, I would imagine. Tay McDonald's going to take this lead.
He's going to do it by running the bottom, holding on to the middle lane for most of that backstretch before moving up. Travis Gilbert was 9th a couple laps ago. He now finds himself 2nd. Huge shuffling in this top 10. He's going to look to try and take this lead away from Tay McDonald, but right now 1, 2, 3, McDonald, Gilbert, and Robinson. Rader and Burns find themselves 4th and 5th, and then the revolving door of the back half of the top 10 continues with Justice Murphy and Al Likens battling for 6th right now. Kyle Diaz and Brandon Richardson going to get involved as well. Richardson punting Diaz down the backstretch as they make their way into 3, and then you see Johnston there battling with Trevor Keith at the back part of this top 10. Loveland, who was up in 2nd a few laps ago, finds himself in 12th now. Just how crazy and how quickly things can happen at the front of the field here in Charlotte. Just unbelievable action, but more importantly, unbelievable inconsistency throughout this. I mean, people have been rotating entire chunks of positions here.
Murphy blocked the 26 all the way down to the white line. They still made it through turn 3 okay. Not sure how they were able to sort that one out. Let's do a little update on tires, where we are right now. Everyone pitted the same lap, but they did not do the same thing on pit road. McDonald, Gilbert on 4 fresh ones. Robinson, fuel only. Rader, Burns took 2 tires only. So did Murphy. Kyle Diaz is on 4 tires. That's probably why he's moved to the field so well right now. So that's interesting to note that even though everyone pitted, they didn't all take 4 tires like we would normally see it. Say Darlington. Oh, big wreck back there. Huge caution.
Oh boy, it's a junkyard on the front stretch.
But off the racing
Resnock's
surface.
Involved, Schaefer's involved.
There's the caution.
61 in there as well. Oh boy, that looked ugly.
Let's go back and figure out what happened to cause this incident. There's Schaefer, that bright orange car, tags the 61, tags the 00. Oh, 61 cleared back across the racetrack, and Alv's involved.
Oh, Alv, high speed.
Turner's involved.
Boy. Peyton Presley lucky to get away. I don't know if he avoided the second round of cars there, but was able to just sneak under the first round.
I don't know if he did, as cars moving pretty slow, but let's ride on board with that 7. That's a good car to look at. You see that yellow and orange car right beside that that yellow car on the top. Gonna get really loose and turned right here. Sandwiched into the outside wall. And good wreck avoidance. Just a kiss. That's good for it. Narrow it up a little bit.
Honestly, that is probably about as good a situation as you could have asked for there if you're Peyton Presley. You know, when you have 5-6 cars sliding in front of you, you're also loose from getting onto the turf there. You know, did make a bit of wall contact, but could not have been too significant relative to what's happening here I mean, just heavy contact for Schaefer. Pancaked to that inside wall. Bresnock gets hammered in between the two cars. 61 machine also devastated. I mean, that's just brutal for everybody.
I would have to think those 3 drivers will all be making their way to the infield care center. I had to take my best guess at it. Joining Forget, Michael Bennett, Joe Goya, Grant Thorpe as the drivers 8 or more laps down. A tough race for some, it will be. You're going 300 miles at Charlotte. 9 laps to go in the stage. This is interesting timing. Because do you pit, set yourself up for later, or do you just run it out and try and get points? What is the move here? I don't know.
I think it'll be really dependent on where you are in the field. I think those up at the front might stay out trying to hold on to those positions. Those in the back, why not take a chance, come down pit road, try and set yourself up. You're probably not going to get the stage points at this point anyway. May as well try and set yourself up on an alternate strategy for the end of this one and hope that comes to fruition. So if you're someone like a Peyton Presley on down, you know, way back in the field there, why not take a chance? We'll see what the leader does here. Looks like Tay McDonald's going to stay out. So are a number of those cars at the front of the field.
A look down the pit lane. I don't know if anyone came down pit road. Nick Holloway did. No, he did not. Not many.
You saw Nick Alves there, but Alves was a part of that incident. So no surprise to see him down there.
That is right. Well, let's do a quick through your field. Haven't done one of those yet today. The racing has been just too intense to even think about pulling away from it. Currently, your leader, Tay McDonald, in the 29. Travis Gilbert behind him in the 22. Raider is 3rd. Matt Robinson, followed by the Mountain Man, Jeremy Burns, who's led 24 of these 92 laps. That is your top 5. Justice Murphy is in 6th. Kyle Diaz, trying to get that pizza to you in half an hour or less. He is in 7th. Al Likens is 8th. Loveland, V-Speed Zone, is running in 9th. Trevor Keith is your 10th place driver.
Back in 11th here, big moves from Brandon Richardson up 24. He finds himself in P11. Was ahead of Parker Johnston in 12th. 13th, it's the 84 of Devin Hudgens, just ahead of the 10 of John Fike. 15th, it is the 93 of Cameron King, who we haven't seen a lot of tonight, but slowly working his way through the field, just ahead of Jackson McGeorge in the 98 machine. Jake Williams Sr. there in 17th, just ahead of the 7 of Peyton Presley. 19th there, it is Tyler Harrison in the 45, and in 20th, it's the 66 of Carter Linz.
We're coming down to the choose this time. We'll try and get the rest of these drivers here quickly. Chris Nail, 21st. Wayne Lowe, 22nd. Evan Orlando Jr. down pit road, 23rd. Holloway, 24th. Caleb Gilbert, also on pit road, is 25th. Nick Alves, 26th. Erhardt, 27. Daryl Johnson is 28th. Grant Turner, last car on the lead lap, is 29th. Frank Hughes Jr., there you see him, 3 down in that caution. Bresnock also involved in 3 down. Schaefer and Israel off the racetrack. Thorpe, Goya, Bennett, just mentioned them. They are 10, 14, and 23 laps down. Forget is 28 laps down and out of this race. Quick look through your field. Still have not found a Through Your Field sponsor, so we're just going to say it's sponsored by V-Speed, naturally.
Hey, there we go.
Naturally.
It's been a bit of a war of attrition here, sneakily. There's only been a couple of cautions, but they've been a couple of big ones, wiping out quite a few cars. And, you know, we've already got about, you know, a quarter of this field out of action for the rest of this one, and we're not even at the halfway point. So, you know, it's starting to get into a little bit of not only do you need to be fast, you need to have some luck, and to have a durable machine out there tonight to make sure you stay in one piece. With 9 cars already out of this race, it's going to make it all the more important as the pace car peels away to make sure you keep yours in one piece.
Put that out the window because we only got 9, or how about 7 laps to the stage. Math not working here tonight. Tay McDonald's going to lead him down to the restart zone. Drive like heck right now. Go get some points and then be cautious.
Nice little launch through by Robert Rader, moving up the second. 53 machine going to knock on the back door of McDonald here in 3, diving to the inside, trying to take that lead away.
Raider heard me.
Might be able to get it done, sliding up the track a little bit. No contact, but they'll stay door to door. Great move here from Raider, trying to take this lead away. McDonald, though, not so easy to give it.
Oh, huge dive into turn 1. Raider's going to slide up the racetrack. He will take the spot off of turn 2. McDonald will not have a good enough run to get to his door. Battle is on, however, for the 4th position. Murphy.
Who else but Murphy and Burns?
Gilbert, too, chasing up to that 22 machine. That car's up in the wall back there. I think that was Fike by chance. A little net code happening there as well as he sparks. One's in the wall. McDonald
Simply
definitely
too
running
much
the top
to
side.
call at one time here. That front stretch, about 4 or 5 different things happened all in the span of a second. Meanwhile, at least up at the front of the field, Travis Gilbert got that machine working right now, looking to the inside.
The outside wall.
Contact there for McDonald. That's going to let the 22 get a good run here to try and clear him. And he will going into turn 1. Murphy going to try and follow him through. Travis Gilbert has a couple of laps here to try and track down Raider, but Raider's opened up a little bit of breathing room over the rest of the field. This is just, it's tough to really gain any ground right now with all these cars getting runs. You might gain 2 positions on one lap, lose 3 the next.
I think McDonald just moved the 22 out of the way ever so slightly. That's not going to help chasing down the leader. Murphy's right beside Tay. We are dogfighting for second.
And Murphy thinking about maybe making it 3 wide for a second. Gilbert closed the door, so instead Murphy will just push Tay McDonald down the back straightaway. Door to door with Gilbert in 3. 29 going to maybe be able to clear him here as Murphy pulls alongside. 22 having a rough couple laps. First gets moved up by the 29. Then the 12 goes out of his way to try and move the 29 up ahead of him. And now we'll look to his inside as we've got Burns and Keith right behind them here, blocking the way for Diaz and Loveland.
The cutoff point for this stage, right there, the 48, last driver to get points. If it stays this way, Fike trying to change that. He's in the 11th position. Trying to make something happen here on the final lap of stage 2. In the grass is John Fike. In the grass, big time. Somebody a little further back. Is that McGeorge? Erhardt's on the outside wall. This is bananas out here.
There's simply too much to keep track of here. 3 wide through the corner. I mean, absolute chaos happening through the field. This last point in the stage breakdown going to be a nail biter here between Johnston and Fike as they make their way off of 4.
Drag race off of turn 4. Give it to Fike. He's going to get the last point in stage number 2. Well, hope you're entertained.
Robert Rader, your stage winner.
I know we are. Robert Rader's entertained. Going to win that stage. This has been just incredible racing to this point. I mean, we're wrecking in the back. I think that was McGeorge again. Somebody on the outside. I can't tell who that dark blue car is. Cameron King? It is Cameron King.
Might be Cameron King, yeah.
We have to go back and watch what happened. That is a little extracurricular after the whistle, as they say. Let's have a look here at the V-Speed Instant Replay. Oh, he got hit from behind. A Jackson McGeorge, and that car is toast. Finished. Done. Bring it to the woodshed. It's over for Cameron King. I think he actually DC'd from the session. He has left the session. Let's go back a little further. See what transpired between these 2 drivers to cause such an incident. So there's McGeorge just right on the top, and I don't know if he accelerates into the back of the 93. It almost looks like that was intentional, but I don't know.
I don't even know. I don't think he accelerated into him. but for whatever reason, it looked like he kind of hooked up into the back bumper. It wasn't a clean hit to the back. He was going to be a little off kilter and kind of steered himself into the back bumper of that machine. So I don't know if it was, I think intentional may be a strong word there. We didn't see anything leading up to it that would have indicated that there was some beef between the two. But no doubt about the fact that the 98 got all of the 93 there and put him into the fence.
Hit him right on the screws. If he was a baseball. Probably felt like a baseball. Hit into the fence. No? Nothing. Wow.
You know, I was thinking about it, and I was going to make some sort of joke of, like, it going over the wall. But then I started thinking about the pit crew over the wall, and then I completely lost my train of thought. So signal that one down as overthinking the joke, which is the thing that they always tell you to do, I'm sure.
Yes. Not overthinking the pit strategy, doing what he always does. Grant Turner going to find himself as the leader on 11-lap old tires. That is
something that he is very comfortable doing, and the rest of the field, it just becomes their problem to try and figure out.
He's getting really good at driving defensively and trying to manage runs and all that stuff. What do you say we bring up Mr. Grant Turner up into the booth?
Sure
Find him here in the chat. I don't see him, actually.
Nor do I.
Right,
actually, now that you mention it, and I was fully on board for it. But
well, that kind of ruins the idea there. Let's see if we can find a driver in the chat who would be willing to speak with us. Let's maybe talk to our stage winner, Robert Rader. Robert Rader, Morgan and Alex up in the VC booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, Mr. Stage Winner, good work there on that last couple lap dash. What's the car feel like out there? What do you need to go out there and win this race?
I'm not really sure right now. We've had guys on some mixed strategies, so it's been a little bit difficult to tell really where I stack up. But I feel like Tay and Travis have been probably the fastest cars out here, and just drove right by them on the restart, so I'm not really sure what was going on there. I thought they had tires and I didn't there, so I don't know. So, yeah, not really sure what to expect here, but track position's key. It's super hard to pass. And dirty air's really, really bad here tonight, so just trying to figure it out as we go.
It has looked difficult to pass, but you've done a pretty good job of maintaining your position, everyone in front of you on a pretty aggressive pit strategy or another. Good work out here tonight. We'll let you go for the choose.
I appreciate it. We'll see what happens on this restart. These old tires can be interesting.
Good luck. That is Robert Rader, currently in the 5th position. Stage winner. Mention some aggressive strategies. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I like them to take that low side, which doesn't seem to be the preferred line for a lot of drivers tonight, but has worked on these restarts if you're the leader. If you are any car other than the leader, though, sometimes it seems to be a little hit or miss.
I would agree with that. Some big movers up at the front. Grant Turner obviously did not pit, gained a lot of spots through the cycle. Carter Lynn's up 5. He's on fuel only. Rader now up to 3rd just by that choose. He's on 4 fresh ones. Wayne Lowe rejoins the top 5. Fuel only up 15 spots. Tay McDonald up 9 with 4 fresh tires. That's just raw pace for the 29. Chris Nail is in 6th. He's up 31 positions. Trevor Keith 7th. Travis Gilbert is 8th. Kyle Diaz in 9th. And Justice Murphy rounds out your top 10.
Notable absence from that top 10, the pole sitter, Jeremy Burns, back in 14th.
Bad to worse on the pit sequence for Jeremy Burns. Has lost spots every time he's coming to pit road. Ooh, big checkup on the top side. Rader was not caught sleeping, however. He's going to make it 3 wide into turn 1 for the lead.
Oh, boy.
Grant, there he goes.
Oh, boy.
Massive. Oh, I thought he saved it.
Is the 39 going to be able to collect it? Yes, he is. He had to get down off the track, but he going to keep that thing in one piece, moving in the right direction. Clearly down on pace, though. He lost a ton of ground. I don't think he was expecting the 53 to try and make it 3 wide there on the restart as he gets a little bottle up in 4. And it's been a tough lap there for the 39.
He's going to find himself all the way back in the 20th spot. Lost 19 positions in one corner. Terrific save, though, for the driver of the 39. And if it makes him feel any better, Rader didn't gain the lead. Carter Linz is the leader. Wayne Lowe second. Chris Nail third. Rader falls all the way back to the 4th spot and almost capped the wall out of turn 4. 93 laps to go, but you'd think they're racing like it's only 5 to go.
Yeah, I mean, that was an aggressive move there from the 53, trying to make it 3 wide for the lead off the restart. He had the run. Turner didn't think he was going to go for it because there was not a whole lot of space there. The 53 put it in there anyway, and it was nearly catastrophic for them both. Luckily for them, they'll keep it together here. But Carter Linz, the big benefactor of that whole battle.
Oh, Jason McGeorge.
Oh, boy. 98 going for a ride there.
That car
He
wiggled
stayed green, though.
all the way off of turn 4 through the quad oval and eventually hit the grass. Good job saving that thing, but that was almost a disaster for a lot of that
Meanwhile,
field.
up front, Wayne Lowe about to take the lead away from Carter Linz here, breathing down his neck. Is Chris Nail going to get involved as well?
Well, Wayne Lowe, how do you do? Good strategy call to get up here. He's got that fuel-only stop, the entire top 3 on fuel-only. Rader first car with 4 tires. Then a whole bunch of 4 tires behind them. We'll see how this shakes out here and call it 5 or 6 laps. The tables may turn.
Wayne Lowe got right into the back bumper of Linz there last time round through 3 and 4. This time a little further back. Going to see if he can try and set up a run off the corner, though. That 34 found his way up front early on. Lost the lead just before the end of stage 1. Carter Linz, I feel like, has experienced every position in the top 20 here tonight. Although this is the one I'm sure he'd like to be in the most of all of the options that he's had at his disposal.
Good run for the 34 off the corner. Going to make Linz work for it here into turn number 3. I don't know if it could be side by side. Looks like tight a little bit for the 34 on the bottom, but he's still going to be there. Drag race to the line. 66 is going to lead that lap, but the whole group just caught up. Rader to the bottom again.
The only difference of these 5 cars is the 53 and the 22 on fresh tires. Rader makes short work of Chris Nail, going to try and find some real estate to get around first and second. There goes Travis Gilbert to the inside. He's going to keep the pressure on Rader here to keep working his way through the cars on the fuel-only strategy.
Rader clears
Looks like
for
Rader
second.
gets on by for second. I mean, cars are just swapping the top 5 around right now.
Like, this is where those no tires hit the wall. Not literally, but like the pace wall is what I'm talking about. This 22 just cannot quite clear. Here comes Jeremy Burns. Big run out of turn 2. Take the fight to Gilbert.
Yeah, it looked like Travis Gilbert was going to have a run for a second a lap or so ago, and then gets completely bottled up with Lowe and Nail. Had nowhere to go and losing out a ton of time to Robert Raiders. Now we're on board with Jeremy Burns up 9 spots from where he restarted. And he's looking for more here if he can try and reel in the 22. Meanwhile, Carter Linz just running for his life from Robert Rader just ahead you see on the onboard cam here with the 9.
There's a calm, cool, and collected Jeremy Burns as always, running in the 5th position. But as you mentioned, back up front, Rader is still working on this. I think this is the most orderly the field has been this entire race. You can see all the way back to the field. A lot of single wide, a little bit of double wide here and there, but no 3 wide, at least for this moment in time. Drivers do want to make it to the end of this race. 85 laps to go where they run.
I think maybe the first incident wasn't enough of the deterrent, but now 2 pretty big accidents that have happened from a little 2 or 3 wide has maybe caused them to be like, all right, there's still a lot of this race to go that we need to traverse.
Oh,
before
shake
we
and
go
bake
try
for
and
the
make it happen.
53, top to bottom,
Oh,
elevator
boy.
move. Side by side for the lead, tight off the corner. Drag race down the back. See what happens here into turn number 3. Raider on the
He's gonna
bottom, going to
really
dive it in
lunge it in there.
really deep. Not quite going to clear. No, could have probably self-cleared. Probably would have ended up in a huge accident. Still steps it down the front, and here comes 22 and the 88. Raider drives it again deep into turn number 1. He's going to miss the bottom, though, and not clear the 66.
Oh, what a launch from the 66. Carter Linz fighting hard on that outside, not giving away that easily. Raider thought he could just slide in on the inside. Nothing going, though. Now Travis Gilbert looking to capitalize.
They door each other
There'll be a little bit of contact.
Not the first time this race that move has happened for those two drivers, but the drivers 2nd through 5th are all under a blanket, cannot get away from each other as Linz continues to lead.
Carter Linz, despite being on significantly older tires here, doing a good job holding off the field. As now Gilbert diving to the inside, chops the nose off to 53. He looks to try and take the lead here. Had a good run down the bottom. The 66 washed up the track a little bit. Here goes Travis Gilbert like he was shot out of a cannon. To the lead goes the 22.
And Raiders going to follow him through, maybe move him a little bit off the bottom. Doesn't quite get that run. Oh, 3 wide.
3 wide.
Jeremy Burns
with a move to the inside. Unbelievable.
Burns caught the apron, bounded up a little bit. Was not able to get to the back bumper of the 22. Raider might push his teammate. They're both going to clear Carter Linz. Burns to the middle. Try and make something happen here on the 22. Another drag race. Look at this, 53, get the momentum down the backstretch. Oh, we're going to hold them tight.
Make
That's
it
a
3 wide.
aggressive move. They are going to be 3 wide off the corner.
Oh,
Elevator,
boy.
push the teammate.
He almost ran out of real estate in a hurry and elects to push the 9 in front of the 22. I think it was either that or end up in the turf with that move he made off of 4. But here comes Gilbert back to the outside. Almost cleared himself. Now does. What a move from the 22. It's 2
Raider
on
not
1,
happy
and
about
he's trying
that.
to take them both on.
Yeah, Raiders not happy about that. That was an absolute self-clear. Moved him out of the way. Chopped the nose. Raider showed his displeasure through 3 and 4. We got cars in the grass. We're 3 wide back here. Diaz just passed 2 of them in the grass, and now he's gone. Now he's back again, 3 wide through the corner. Wayne Lowe falling back.
That's dicey.
And Gilbert still side by side with our leader. Oh, big dive down to the bottom. They're both going to get tight. Raider with another huge run through 3 and 4. Push
Burns and
Burns
Gilbert
again.
both tried to outbreak each other into 3. Neither was able to do so and let the 53 get a ton of momentum. He'll get around Gilbert now.
They finally cleared
Will
him.
the action start to settle in just a hair up at the front of the field? I mean, these guys were battling like their lives depended on it with still 75 plus laps to go in this race.
Don't look now, but Tate
back
McDonald's
here comes about to be a little maybe about to be 2 on 2 up at the front of the field here if McDonald can get up there with Gilbert. And now it really starts to become like that Atlanta reference that you made earlier.
Yeah, this track has
friends.
the same dimensions as Atlanta, same length, same banking. Actually, that's not true, not the same banking, but the same width of the racetrack, 40 feet wide. Even has the same color asphalt, that really dark asphalt they have down in the southeast. You could tell me this is Atlanta, and I'd believe you at this point in time, other than the writing on the walls and the turf in the infield. This has been a spectacular race. I'm very pleased with the show that they're putting on for us right now. We got a 3-way breakaway for the lead with 75 laps to go.
You know, I'm looking at this pack as they run. You know, you got a couple of Element X drivers up at the front right now, 1, 2. Then you look just a little further back in the field here. You know, 3rd place and 4th place, both racing for freedom, as is the driver in 7th, soon to be 6th. if Kyle Diaz can clear Chris Nail. So a lot of team presences up in the top few cars right now. And it's getting spicy up there. BDE at least has Trevor Keith up there in the top 5, putting their name into the hat. But it is getting a little chaotic up at the front of the field as far as team alliances go. As you know, after the little 2-on-1 situation there with Burns and Rader against Gilbert, I'm sure he would love nothing more than to get McDonald and Diaz up there with him and try and go 3-on-2, play the numbers game.
Yeah, a lot of action throughout this pack here. You just saw Fike bounce off the side of the 48. Those drivers maintaining at the back half of this top 10. Battle for the lead. Element X Racing have not quite settled who's going to lead this race. Raiders
Looks
can
like
take it
a
a little
couple of those Racing for Freedom guys going to battle it out for third as well.
Adoring
McDonald
each other.
leaning on Travis Gilbert there.
What do they say? 8 tires turn better than 4? Especially if they're your teammates.
This has really knotted up the top 6 cars here. Trevor Keith and Kyle Diaz also now onto the scene as well. I mean, just look at this. Oh, what a move from Gilbert, diving in on Burns, trying to take second away. He is not afraid to lunge it into turn 3.
It's going to bite him one of these times when somebody tries to block that move and it wipes them both out, but it was not at lap 128.
Rader leads, but he has got a nest of cars behind him as we look here. Johnson and Loveland going to battle it out just outside the top 10. That one looks to be settled for the moment. A little farther back. What is going on here?
Now, the 8 tried to come up in front of him. I think it was the 84, and just about knocked out these entire 7 cars. Oh, big wall contact for Harrison. He's going to pop the fence out of 4. That'll shake it up in a hurry. This
Meanwhile,
from 16th on back.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot going on there. Richardson hit the wall. Up front, Gilbert gets around Burns. Here comes Tay McDonald to the inside of Jeremy Burns as well. The 29 trying to move up into third. The 22 trying to move into the lead. Diaz and Trevor Keith. Justice Murphy on their back bumper. The top 7 separated by 0.6 of a second right now. Phenomenal stuff here as we go the 70 laps to go in this ChapmanES.com 200.
I just don't know where to look anymore. We got action all over this racetrack. Just crazy. Diaz here making a move in the Domino's car. Making it underneath of Justice Murphy in the 12. He is going to do it. Not quite.
Travis Gilbert might have a run here in 1 and 2. Going to fall back just a little bit. Tay McDonald has fully claimed third. Trevor Keith looking to try and get around Burns here. The 9 starting to fall off a little bit, falling back to 4th, maybe 5th in a moment here. See Justice Murphy get up to his back bumper. Gilbert to the inside of Rader for the lead. Kyle Diaz is seeing this all happen in front of him here. Unbelievable view there for the 26, but up front, this battle refusing to die between the 22 and the 53. Neither one content with being second right now.
Rader's going to have the top side, going to have the run. I would think off the corner he will clear the 22. Be down into turn 3, something will change. Big drive down there. 53 faked the block, didn't end up doing it, but Tay McDonald is back to play.
There are some wicked fast cars up within a second of the lead right now. Not to say those behind them don't have the ability to lead laps here. We know Carter Lynch has had a really fast car here tonight as well, but I mean, you look at the cars in the top 7 right now, and they all could have a striking chance within a lap or two at moving their way into position to take the lead. As you see McDonald now to the outside. What has he got in store here for his teammate, or was it to try and throw a block on the 9? There's so much you got to keep in mind at this stage in the race. You want to play offense, you have to play defense. You have to keep an eye on your tires so you don't burn them out too fast and lose all this momentum you've built. You also have to keep an eye on when you come down for green flag pit stops, because that's becoming a more realistic possibility by the second. I mean, there has got to be a ton going through the mind of these drivers right now.
Don't forget fuel. You got to make sure when you pit, you can actually make it to the end. Tay McDonald says, how about right now? We can make
Same
it to
deal
the
for
end.
22.
A lot of drivers coming in here. This must be the
Lot of
opening
cars.
of the window. I don't think you're two stopping it from here. This must get you right to the finish. Element X continues to lead, put together a good in lap, and see if they can beat out Gilbert and McDonald, who are stopping in their boxes right now. 26 coming to pit road. I can tell by the way he entered turn number 3.
Same deal with the 12 and the 9 and the 53. Everybody in that top 10 coming down right now.
Loveland and Erhardt stay out. So does Gilbert. Those are the only drivers on the racetrack who have not hit pit road.
At least in the top 15 or so before we
Add
get back
Holloway
to
and
Holloway
Presley
and
to that
Presley.
list. Daryl Johnson as well. There's Raider hitting his box now. Good stop in the box. Let's go find Travis Gilbert coming up to speed right now. See McDonald
He
fell back
dusted
quite
Tay McDonald.
a bit off of pit road. Able to see here off the nose of the 22 where Raider comes out. Don't see Raider quite yet. There's Diaz. That's Burns right in front of him. See Raider coming off of turn 2 right up ahead. When they get up to speed, this might be close. You can see Raider at the bottom of the screen right there. Not quite
Just
wound
about.
up yet.
Everybody but Johnson has come down pit road, I believe. No, Johnson also has. So everyone now has come down pit road. And it looks like Raiders going to hold a slight advantage over Travis Gilbert as they run and inherit the lead back here on lap 138. Those two guys had great stops. A second and a half ahead of Tay McDonald, who's battling with Jeremy Burns here. So right now, it looks like there is two clear winners of this pit cycle. Everyone else fighting for third.
We're going to find out how powerful the draft is. If McDonald, Burns, and Linz can somehow work, maybe just McDonald's and Burns, in fact, those are the only two drivers in that group, can work together to catch the top two. That's going to be a tall order, although they are slowly but surely creeping in, heading into that number. It's on the entry to turn 1. 8 and 45, cannot get away from each other. Still fighting.
Al Lyken's a part of this battle as well. This is 18th through 20th as they run. Tyler Harrison hasn't quite had the luck he's needed here tonight. He's been kind of marred back in the back half of the top 20 just about all race long. Hasn't really been able to find that spark he's needed to move forward. He's been doing a good job of holding on to that track position, but so far it's just been a tough night at the office for the 45, as you see on board with him there and his cat roaming around.
Very good. Very good. There he is in the 18th position, doing his thing.
One thing I'm noticing is Burns and McDonald are not catching the leaders anytime soon. They've actually lost about 0.2 of a second in the past 2 laps here. So it might just be Raider and Gilbert for a minute up at the front of the field, because they don't seem to be having any company anytime soon. But Travis Gilbert just covering the entire mirror of the 53 right now.
And he's all the way up at the outside wall. He's all the way down, almost cutting the grass and the turf off the exit of the corner. That 22 is using the entire racetrack, I don't know if he's just trying to scare the 53. Maybe try and make him blink. Doesn't know where he's going, but they both go high entry, low center. Slide up the racetrack on the exit as you do in turn 3 and 4 here at Charlotte. Let's ride along for a lap with the 22 and see what he does. Just glued to the back bumper of the 53. Nothing he can do. Can't go high, can't go low. But they are pulling away by 0.3 a lap over Jeremy Burns, Carter Linz, Tay McDonald, who are fighting for the 3rd position. Three cars going at it right here.
You know, we were saying that if these guys wanted to try and catch the leaders, we were going to see how good the draft is. I think the draft is really good. The only problem is it's the leaders who are implementing it for the most part.
New
And
leader,
not third through
22.
fifth, as Travis Gilbert slides on by the inside. Another one of those dives into turn 3, takes that lead away. Will Raider have something to respond with here in 1 and 2?
Not this time. He's probably just going to hang back there. Oh, big wall contact for the 49 behind them. That is not going to help the handling of that car any. Raider to the top. Don't know if he's going to get that run. Maybe try and cross him over on the front. Not going to have the momentum to get there. Have a look a little further back in the field. Someone we haven't talked about a lot. Matt Robinson in the 1 fighting Loveland. This is 9th and 10th. Erhardt, last driver to pit in that sequence. He currently is 11th. Good run for these guys. Al Likens talked with him quite a bit, that new looking scheme he has. Currently in the 19th position. Though he has led a few laps here tonight. First driver, 1 lap
Gilbert
down.
and Raider are just swapping first right now. I hate to take you away from some of the highlight there, but I mean, these guys have been trading the lead the past couple laps. Been watching that timing table, it just kept flip-flopping. Raider finally establishing control of that lead for a second. Looks like he might be able to hold on to it for a moment here, but sorry, I hated to take you away from that. As you were saying that, I was watching. I think they flipped who was leading about 3-4 times.
Got no worries here. 53 was able to compromise the entry to the 22 in turn 3 last time, set him back this far, but quarter second. Gilbert is behind Raiders. We close in on 50 laps to go, the final quarter of this race. What do you think? Is it time for a get loud on V-Speed?
I think it is the perfect time to get a little loud here on this.
See how spread apart the field is right now. Got drivers all over this 1.5 mile racetrack. Last car on the lead lap, currently Grant Turner with that damage from the slide with Raider. Currently finds himself 24th position. About 22 seconds back of the leader. Raider will be there not too long from now as we have another good battle here. 49 lap down car. Daryl Johnson making moves. I get that lap back the old-fashioned way. First car, 1 lap down, if I'm not mistaken. He is not, actually. He's 2 down. Trying to get one of them back, salvage his race.
Oh, boy, look to the outside of Gilbert. Gilbert didn't give it to him, though, so he'll settle back in behind. I think the 22 is trying to use him. It's a bit of a draft boost there on the front straightaway, but I think it cost them both just a little bit of time. You know, Johnson not keen to try and stick around. He's trying to get that lap back. The 22 trying to reel in the 53. Does so there a little bit down the back straightaway, but now going to be battling with the 49, who's just trying to clear the both of them and move on. And as all of this is happening, they're closing in on another lap car in the 77 of Grant Thorpe, who's 9 laps down after that massive incident back in stage 2.
Diaz finds himself in the third position at 26 Dominoes. We'll go through the field here in a second once they clear Grant Thorpe, but I'm curious to see if Johnson's going to be able to get this spot back from Raider, or if Raider will just give it to him. It's a little bit of a controversial subject. Do you race the leader as a lap down car? Do you just ride and wait? Obviously, we know how Dale Johnson feels. He is driving the wheels off this car to try and go get that spot back, and he's probably going to do it right here. I think Raiders going to give it to him, put him back one down. But if something goes wrong, the first one to be blamed is always going to be the lap car in this situation. Why are you racing me so hard, et cetera, et cetera. But lap cars, they are racing their own race as well, their own stuff to fight for.
Yeah, meanwhile, the 53 might be in a bit of a pinch here. Nowhere to go between Johnson and Thorpe. Going to try and split the middle, and the 1 clears the 49 again. Tense moment there for Robert Raider. Had to split the defense to try and hold on to the lead. Meanwhile, Johnson trying to use the draft to get his lap back. Gilbert cutting in between the 2 lap cars. This is a very interesting 4-car battle at the front of the field. There's only 2 of them really fighting for position. One of them fighting for their lap, and Grant Thorpe just happy to be there.
Another huge wall contact for Johnson in the 49 off of turn 4. That's the second or third time we've seen that here tonight. And finally, Diaz starting to close in. It's now just under 3 seconds. As I say that, the lead goes back up naturally. But there is a look at Kyle Diaz, who's broken away from the rest of that group. But let's do a quick through your field. Leader right now, Robert Raider, led 32 of these 157 laps. Travis Gilbert has led 28 of them. 2 of the stronger cars tonight. Kyle Diaz is in third of 14 positions. Jeremy Burns also led 32 laps. He is in fourth. McDonald on his outside. He's led 11 laps, currently P5. Justice Murphy is in sixth. Loveland, seventh. Good run for the 0-2. Erhardt is eighth. Lynn's up to ninth. And Trevor Keith is in 10th.
Just behind them, Parker Johnston's had an eventful night. He finds himself 11th right now, just ahead of the 1 of Matt Robinson, who's also led 10 laps this evening. Chris Nail, fuel strategy got him way up through the field from 37th to 13th. He's holding on to it right now, but he might lose out to Daniel Holloway if he's looking for his inside. 15th there is Al Likens, who's battling it out with the 45 of Tyler Harrison just behind him. And then jumping behind them, Kevin Orlando Jr. has his hands full right now with the 84 of Devin Hudgens, currently running in the 18th position. Wayne Lowe, currently where he's qualified, 19th, after leading 5 laps on that alternate strategy. And Brandon Richardson has been as high as 5th, currently finds himself plus 15, running in 20th.
21st is Peyton Presley in the 7. Up 7 spots for him. Jackson McGeorge is in 22nd. 23rd, Grant Turner, after a strategy move gone wrong off the front bumper of Raider. He's the first driver, 1 down. Caleb Gilbert, also 1 down, pitting right now for 54. Alves, 1 lap down in 25th. Daryl Johnson is 2 down. We talked about him quite a bit, as he has now fallen behind both of the top 2 drivers. Jake Williams Sr., 2 down in the 51. Fike, 2 down in the 10. Grant Thorpe, as you mentioned earlier, 10 down in the 77. Resnock is 14 laps down in the 00. Joe Goya, last car running, 31st, 15 laps down. Cameron King, Frank Hughes Jr., Christopher Schaefer, Jeff Israel Jr., Michael Bennett, and Alex Forget are out of this race, 32 through 37 in the running order.
I just would like to highlight real quick the 26 of Kyle Diaz. While we did that run through the field, closed a second on the leaders. He was about 3.1 back, now 2.2 back. He is making hay toward the leaders here. He's already up 14, but you know he has the time if he keeps up that momentum to try and reel in 2 more spots here and pick up an incredible victory. Should he have the ability to do so? But I mean, you see that gap right now, 2.1. He is starting to reel those guys in.
You might get them before the cheese melts. Still
That
nothing.
would be.
Wow.
I was getting to it, and you cut me off before I was going to say anything about it.
I was hoping for a chuckle.
Ugh.
All I wanted was a chuckle.
I mean, I did. I don't know if the mic picked it up. It was a light one. It was like, you see something funny online, you do like the nose exhale, you know?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. That's just my humor. That's just the way it is. Top two, under 2 seconds ahead of Kyle Diaz. As he has gapped the rest of this group. Burns, second back in that new look. Probably for this race only, I would imagine. Chapman Environmental Services, number 9. Patriotic scheme, obviously, as this is Memorial Day week.
Got a nice little battle going on here. Carter Linz, Trevor Keith, battle for 9th. Little side-by-side action here. Both of these cars have found themselves in the top 10 a lot tonight, trying to get that extra spot here. They're kind of in their own little universe right now. A couple of seconds to the next closest car, both ahead and behind. So whoever wins this exchange will be able to hold on to it probably for a little while.
And Lynn's using the whole racetrack. He paid for all of it. Just about scraped the outside wall into turn number 1. Able to get a good run off the corners. Diaz is still closing in. It's 1.8 seconds. Wonder what this driver is doing different. Let's ride on gyro cam style. It's Kyle Diaz. Nice and smooth through turn 1 and 2. See in 3 and 4 what he's doing. Surprisingly shallow entry. Oh, pitting this time. Well, that changes things.
Gilbert.
Looks like we're
and
not
here
one
comes
stopping to the end.
McDonald as well. So the final pit cycle of the night underway here. Gilbert, Diaz. This could be a huge pit stop for Kyle Diaz. He reeled in so much time there. Will he be able to keep that momentum on pit road here?
I think Rader's got to come in this time.
He certainly does.
Or risk losing a lot of track position. Here it is. Really deep entry. Going to make it work, I think.
Burns stays out, though.
I think Burns realizes he's already behind on the strategy by pitting 1 lap later, at least. He might as well run it out and see if he can catch something. I think that's the thought process for the 9 right now. Kind of caught in a bad spot on this strategy at the moment.
Curious to see how the 22 cycles out here against the 53.
There is the 22. And caution's out.
Oh, the caution's out. Al Likens' machine looks destroyed. Brandon Richardson as well.
I believe it
the
was
nose on
the
that
8.
car caved in.
I think Likens was just wall contact. But I think the 8 is where the caution came from. That changes everything. Let's find out what happened.
The leaders had just come down pit road.
It's like, oh, I think this is coming off of pit road for Richardson. Just up to speed. There's a big bump right there.
Oh, and he came up the track.
Yeah, he found it.
Oh, boy, heavy damage for the 8.
Beached it as well for just a second.
That's really tough if you're there. I mean, you had such a good run going. You didn't qualify great, but made up a ton of ground both through pit strategy and then on track. Just to have that happen, as you now see Burns, Erhardt, and the rest of the cars who did not come down pit road yet doing so now, completely throwing the strategy on its head. The top 3 cars of Rader, Diaz, and Travis Gilbert, although not in that order, all had just come down pit road. They're going to need the wave around here because Jeremy Burns had stayed out. This has fallen directly into the lap of the 9 here.
As these always do, don't they? He just seems to be able to find the strategy just right. I mean, he pitted 1 lap, or I think he was going to pit about 1 lap. And the caution came out immediately. Robert Rader cycles out to the lead somehow. He must have been on the lead lap when the caution came out. He is not.
That's a fortunate break then for the 53.
Yeah, Gilbert is going to have to take the wave around, I believe.
as will, I think, the 26 of Kyle Diaz.
There's Kyle Diaz. He will definitely need the wave around.
That's gotta be heartbreaking there for the 26. I mean, that green flag run, he had done such great work to put himself in position, cut that deficit down by over half right before the green flag pit cycle, just to now need to get waved around back through the field here.
Well, this 200-lap race turns into a 25-lap shootout to win it all. Isn't that just how these races work most of the time?
It certainly does, especially at Charlotte when you have a race that's this long. You know, eventually something's going to give. You know, you can be perfect for a lap. You can be perfect for 10 laps. It is really hard to be perfect for 200 laps, and it now finds itself into a position where, you know, ultimately the previous 170 laps, not super relevant. All it's given you is information on how you can tackle this last stretch of the race. And hopefully you've been paying attention through the previous 170, because you're going to need all the info you can get if you're going to go out and win this thing.
That is right. And with that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, our last one before the checker flag. You're watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution here on V-Speed. Be back right after this.
And here comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Marty's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
The road gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back for the final 20-odd laps here at the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway, high above this virtual Motor Speedway. Cars waving around, some cars hitting pit road to top off with fuel. The pack of leaders is rolling off of turn number 2, led by Robert Rader. Kevin Orlando Jr., I don't know if we've actually said that name yet today. He is currently in second. I've not seen him in the top 10 at all in this race. Jeremy Burns is third. Holloway fourth, Erhardt fifth, Keith, Presley, Murphy, Loveland, and Travis Gilbert are your top 10. Completely shaken field due to that caution. The 8 losing it off of pit road. Middle of a cycle.
Going to be interesting. A lot of these guys have been up toward the front of the field tonight. The 27, the 21, and the 7, though, not so present in the top 10 throughout most of the evening. Curious to see if they've got anything for Rader, who's got a huge gap of cars now between him and Travis Gilbert. As when they take the green flag, it'll be 27 laps to go.
Green flag is out. Oh, big issues there for the 8. That car is not going. You check up a lot of cars here. Oh, 45 got stuck behind him. That is going to cost the 45, I think, 8 or so positions. I don't know if it was the wrong gear for Richardson, but the 41 also making some hefty moves here down to the bottom. 3 wide, almost 4 wide.
Oh, narrow. Oh, boy, 41 and 27.
Oh, all in the outside wall.
Nearly
They're
got
wrecking.
together. Now they are. Everyone's wrecking on the
big
front
hit for
straightaway.
Keith. There goes Gilbert's around. That was one of the fastest cars here. Linz is in it, too. So is Murphy. Got the whole field.
Multiple
Oh,
cars
they're
who have
still
led laps
wrecking.
tonight. Oh, Erhardt and Orlando Jr. connecting.
Well, that's going to end the day for the 12, the 41.
22 had such a fast car.
The 10's in it as
That's a real
well.
bummer.
All right, well, I think this all started with the 41 off the nose of the 27. This wreck lasted for like an entire lap, it felt like. Like a scene from Talladega Nights. And here we are. This is off a 2. Gonna get a good look at what happened here. Erhardt down to the bottom, 3 wide on the Candyman. Got into him a little bit there. Kind of shook up the entry. And then just a rocket through the corner. Put the 27 in the wall a little bit, and then we got drivers all over the place. Everyone's wrecked.
It started with the 41, but I'd almost argue the bigger issue came just behind it when the 15 of Trevor Keith hit the wall, because he came down where there was a lot of cars. And that's where I think a lot of the chain reaction for everybody else picked up. Because you'll see the 27 gets into the outside wall with the 41 to his inside. Holloway gets the 15 up into the outside wall as well here. Or not into the wall, but you see he collects it, and then as they come back down, I mean, just everyone has nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think I count
Wayne Lowe a part of it as well.
9 cars involved in that. Let's have a look at the 84. He did a pretty incredible job of not hitting anything. Let's see here. This is Devin Hudgens.
And you can also see how far back he is in line versus how far he ends up by the time this wreck is done happening. Just because so many cars got knocked out of sorts here. It's got to be a terrifying moment as a driver where you just see things going everywhere. You just pick a lane and woo, shot the gap. What a move from the 84.
And Wayne Lowe trying to do his best Tokyo Drift impression. Somehow kept that thing pointing in the right direction. That should have been a big issue for the 34. But a lot of good cars taken out in that
Don't know
incident.
if he's going to win tonight, but the 84 gets my move of the race for that shooting of the gap. Unbelievable stuff to trust that you're going to get through that somehow and everything parted around him.
I wish I could do makeshift graphics quickly. I'd give him the thumbs up move of the race. Devin Hudgens in 9th position at 84. Good run. Good job avoiding that incident. Gain you some spots when you don't wreck when other drivers do. But up at the front, Robert Rader continues to lead. Jeremy Burns, Candyman, Holloway going to be under 20 laps to go when we get back racing. Best the 21 has been all night.
This has really opened up the door again for Kyle Diaz and Tay McDonald to get back into the hunt. You know, they needed the wave around, got stuck a little farther back in the field, but that incident shakes up so much of the field that they now find themselves back in contention once again within the top 6 cars. And, you know, there's a few cars now who have inherited some really good running positions that they may not have found themselves in much of the night, but are going to try and capitalize here. This is, I think, the highest that Tyler Harrison's been. He's up in the 12th. Jackson McGeorge is up to 13th. You know, some of these guys have really been able to benefit from this, and even those who were in it, as long as you aren't terminally damaged, you'll probably still be in the top 20. So with the amount of attrition here tonight, you still are going to get some decent points, but a lot of those cars were potential race-winning cars who now find themselves fighting for points, as you see the 22 and the 15 limp on the pit road here.
I think those are the best 2 examples of potential race-winning cars having issues in this incident. They are currently, I believe, the last 2 drivers on the lead lap. Gilbert is 19th. I don't see the 15 on my timing and scoring. He is 1 lap down in 21st. So both those drivers having their day not quite come to an end, I wouldn't say, but their chances of winning, I think, have pretty much disappeared in this race.
Man, how about Peyton Presley in the 7? What a strange run he's had tonight. He's been almost involved in a number of incidents, slightly involved in a couple of them, but has just systematically worked his way up. And now, when it matters most, I mean, he's in contention and has as good a chance as anybody here. Going to be restarting 2nd on the outside row.
Pretty heavy right front
less
damage
than
on that
20 laps
7
to go.
as well. I don't know how well that thing's going to fire off, especially in dirty air. I don't know about the handling of that 7, and where there's that kind of damage on the body, I couldn't imagine what is underneath. He got hit pretty hard by Trevor Keith in the 15 when he came back across the racetrack. We're going to find out what the 7 can do, if he's going to turn this into a good day or not. A lot of these drivers, like you had mentioned, just some good fortune. The 88, the 02, the 45, the 7, you know, drivers who weren't up here before, the 21. who now have a shot at a really good finish if they can keep it clean and green, or at least pointed in the right direction for 20 more laps.
Survival has been the name of the game here tonight at Charlotte, and for a lot of these guys, they've been able to pull it off and now find themselves with a chance to win it. Burns, though, going to have another crack at his teammate here. And Kyle Diaz going to have a chance to try and settle the score he had with the 53 about 30, 40 laps ago.
I think the big key on this restart is how Tay McDonald can fare with those two other cars on the outside line. If he can get around those two, I think he's got a shot at this win. Raider is off. Not a great start for Holloway. Spun the tires a little bit. He'll be side by side with Burns as they roll through the front stretch into turn number 1. Burns is going to get him. And Diaz is right on the back bumper.
McDonald bailed out to the low side to get around the 7 of Presley. Going to look to do the same here against Holloway, who slides down a little bit. Diaz, though, able to clear the 21. He's firmly in third now. McDonald about to close off 4th place here, and will. And now your front 4, Rader, Burns, Diaz, and McDonald. You know, Robert Rader's got a bit of an advantage, but those 3 cars behind him are going to be on a warpath to him as there's 3 wide behind.
Hudgens with a huge crossover on the 7. Made it work. They're still 3 wide, looking 4 wide. Can't see who that is on the bottom. Is that McGeorge, I believe? It is McGeorge and Chris Nail. Ignoring each other here in the center of the corner. Fighting hard.
Jeremy Burns has reeled in the back bumper of our leader, Robert Rader. The gap less than a car length here. It's about a car length back to Diaz as well. Will Jeremy Burns be able to make a move here in the 3? He's poking his nose out just a little bit. He'll stay in line, but Diaz won't. He'll go all the way to the apron. Thought about trying to get around the 9. Burns closes the door. Going to play a little defense there is the Mountain Man, as he's got a couple of hungry challengers behind him here.
Don't look now, but Tay McDonald is there, and he's giving Diaz everything he can handle. Shoved him off into the corner, trying to upset the exit. Doesn't work this time. We got drivers almost in the outside wall. I think that was Presley back there with Harrison ripping the top side. Harrison's going to go all the way down to the bottom. Elevator move, tight in the center. Did not make it work. And Nail, oh, I thought Nail was going to force it 3 wide there. Did not take that opportunity. Probably a wise decision right there.
Things are getting a little crazy up front here. Kyle Diaz again continued to try and poke and prod to the inside of Burns. It looked like things got a little squirrely behind him. Harrison got down below the apron for a second.
And the 7
finds
got
himself behind Peyton Presley.
7 got some help from the 1, just about got him around, but we're side by side for second. Exactly what Rader wants to see. So he can pull away just a little bit of breathing room. Burns fights back on the top side. Diaz on the bottom. Tay McDonald doesn't know where to go. They're 2 wide behind McDonald as well. This is shaping up to, I have no idea who I want, who I would pick if I had to pick somebody. I have no idea in this top 5, this top 6, 7. Hudgens making his way up here, 7th for the 84.
Parker Johnston, for all the trouble that he's had tonight, finds himself in 5th. Wouldn't that be a story if the 48 could find a way after the early incident to put himself in victory lane? He's not too far off the pace here either.
And Lynn's
you
big
got,
rebound.
Lynn's in Loveland.
He was just wrecked. Yeah. Running an 8th spot.
We do know it's been very tough to pass here all night. But with 14 laps to go here from Charlotte, Raiders got to try and hold off 3 different challengers in Jeremy Burns, Kyle Diaz, and Tay McDonald. You can probably add Parker Johnston to the mix as well. He's basically closed into the back bumper of the 29. Again, the 26 goes low. Again, the 9 blocks. Now Diaz, though, going to stick to the inside to the quad oval. Opens the door for McDonald to roll the outside. Johnston going to go with him.
I think you're going to have to make a pass like you would in Atlanta, Daytona, or Talladega. You're going to have to work with somebody, get a draft going, push that driver ahead, and then have them pull you through the hole. I think that's the only way you're going to be able to pass somebody without moving them here at Charlotte tonight. As McDonald's going to go down to the bottom, get the run.
He's got Johnson with him, or did.
Holloway,
Oh,
big time
bit
into
of
the
wall
wall.
contact there. 21's going to fall off the pace a little bit here. See what Parker Johnston does here. He's got his choice of lane with Burns up high, McDonald down low. Looks like Johnston's going to settle up toward that outside wall. McDonald loses out some speed. Falls back to third. You were talking about having to do a little bit of draft work here to try and make a pass. Well, it's going to be tough for the rest of this field. The two cars running 1-2 right now, teammates. Going to make it a little trickier to try and get that pass done if you need help. There's now Parker Johnston around McDonald for third.
There's a reason those two win a lot of races. They work very well together. They control races from the lead, and that's exactly what they're doing with 10 laps to go. Diaz and Johnston fighting hard for the third spot. Tay is right there.
Here comes Hutchins as well, looking to the outside of McDonald for a second. Didn't get it to go that time by, but now 10 laps to go. And, I mean, it's impossible to tell. I mean, there are 7 cars, all with a very legitimate chance to win this race right now. It is really tough to see who's going to end up taking this thing, as Diaz all over the back bumper of Johnston in the 3, now looking to the inside. A dive from the 26.
He's going to get the run through the corner, see if he can clear on the exit. I don't believe he will. Drag race 48, the 26th of the line, how about? Big push from Tay McDonald here. It's so hard to clear. You can get him in the center, but it's right there on the corner exit. The top side gets the good run. You cannot slide up as the car on the bottom, and they're 2x2 back here. Third place on back, exactly what Element X drivers Robert Rader, Jeremy Burns want to see.
Yeah, the side drafting has really let the top 2 cars start to pull away, as the 26 and 48 glued to each other here around this racetrack. Laps starting to tick away. Everyone else right now can only watch helplessly from behind this battle for third. It's neither side able to get the advantage. Looks like Johnson might finally be able to clear Diaz. Barely.
You got it.
48 going to hold on to third, but washes back up the track a little bit. Diaz right back to the inside.
Oh, McDonald's trying to force it 3
trying
wide.
to find his way through.
Oh, I thought he was going to do it there. Not quite. Enough momentum to force it 3 wide. As you can see, these drivers are getting tight here. We got 6 laps to go. Tay McDonald up into the side of the 48. Haven't seen the 29-48 battle this hard since the mid-2000s. Good run there for those drivers. Diaz on an island. This is his best chance he's had all night. Closest he's been to the top 2. He's got to turn it on right now if he wants to go win this race. They're catching the slower Trevor Keith machine, the 15. Big time damage. Will that play a factor in the end of this race?
Looks like Trevor Keith's going to try and bail out of the way here of the leaders. Kyle Diaz trying to reel in Burns. Burns got a better draft off the back of the 53, though, as they all get around the 15. 5 laps to go here in this 200-lap, 300-mile race. It's all come down to this. 3 cars within half a second. And throw another, God knows how many, in a second and a half here, as Loveland starting to make some forward progress as well. He's in 6th and looking for more.
And that orange and black car on the bottom doing what he has to do to go gain some spots. 7th position currently for Loveland. One of the better runs he's had all season. Tay McDonald still fighting with the 48, as Diaz has closed in to just over half a second. He's still got a shot at it, but I don't know how he's going to pass 2 cars in 4 laps from half a second back.
Now, step 1 is making that half-second gap a 1/10 gap like Burns has got the Raider. He also might need a little bit of help. If Burns tries to get around the 53, might open the door for the 26 to close in. But now with 3 laps to go, as this battle for 4th through 7th continues. You know, I'm looking at this gap. Diaz now under half a second. Burns under a tenth. That 9 car all over the back bumper of Raider right now. This is where it's going to come down to the wire here. Which of these Element X drivers are going to try and take this one home? And can Kyle Diaz catch him?
It's going to take perfection from Jeremy Burns if he's going to get around his teammate, the 53, who's been the dominant car all night. Where does he go? Does he bait him high? Does he bait him low? Elevator move. Does he move him out of the way? He's got 3 sets of corners to figure it out. As we roll down the backstretch into turn number 3. Going to take the white flag this time. White flag presented by Erhardt Homes. Love where you live. It's out here for Element X Racing. 2 drivers, 1 trophy. See what they can do into turn number 1. Jeremy Burns down to the bottom. Not going to get the run off the corner. All the way to the bottom.
To break the draft.
For Raider. I don't know if that helped or not. A little bit of wall contact for the 9 through 3 and 4. The run's not going to be there. And Robert Raider is going to win at Charlotte.
One stage 2, able to hold on, win the race. Burns will have to settle for second from the pole.
Little door.
And Kyle Diaz up 14 spots tonight from 17th to 3rd to take that final step of the podium.
Good work by all these drivers. Very clean race here tonight. Impressive the way they were able to handle it. This is a long, grueling race. Saw the majority of this field have incidents. Top 19 on the lead lap. Everybody else finished at least 1 lap down. And there is your winner, Robert Raider, as well as the rest of the top 3. Going to do their burnouts right here.
First, got to get that pick for socials. Got to let them know.
Get that
Gotta
picture
represent.
ready to rumble. We're going to get Robert Raider here when he's done his burnouts. He told us to make everyone aware. We're going to be interviewing the winner right here on the front stretch, as they do on Fox and NBC and all those other broadcasting networks. So once that car comes to a stop, Alex, I'll get you to go grab Mr. Robert Raider out of his chat, and we will have a discussion with him. Robert Raider, talked to you a little bit ago, doing the Polish victory lap right now in honor of Alan Kulwicki. Well done tonight. And how did you hold off Burns the last run?
Dirty air, man. That was the play. Probably won the race with the 4th fastest car tonight, so you'll take those anytime. But yeah, Burns was super fast at the end, and I was in kind of a weird spot there. I wasn't sure what to do, whether to try to save any tire or not. So I just said screw it and went 110%, ran 23 qualifying laps there, and just hope that those guys didn't have enough tire to pass me at the end. And Burns was just starting to, I think, be on a little better tire than I was right at the very end of that run. And fortunately, we ran out of laps. Otherwise, I think he was going to get me. But I'm pretty pumped up about this one, man. I love this track. It's a ton of fun. It was nice to get all of the laps in tonight, despite all the humidity in the air. And this is going to be a party, man.
I bet it will be. All 25 of your closest friends are going to join you down there in the chat after the race, I would imagine, just as we showed on the broadcast. 53 still burning it down in front of this crowd of fans who stuck around for all 200 laps and 300 miles here. But why don't you just, how difficult is a race like this that is just so long in length to keep your composure and everything that you need to be good here at Charlotte?
That's a good question, man. It's definitely important. You know, these types of races, you have to be around at the end to have a chance. And there's some really fast guys out there tonight who, on paper by speed probably deserved to beat me tonight, but they all ended up finding a way to get themselves into trouble or somebody else's trouble. You just have to keep yourself in the right position to have a shot at it. And being up front was big tonight. Track position was everything. So just that was a huge part of it. And man, it's good. It's good when you see these guys coming behind you. You know it's going to get close at the end, and be able to come away with it is fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it was impressive sights to see there from you. We saw you win stage 2. You mentioned that, while the race win would be nice, you're going to have to get through some cars, and track position was critical. Once you got it, you seemed to be in good shape. Let me ask you this. What were your thoughts there when the caution came out right in the middle of that last pit cycle with you, the 22 and the 26? What was going through your mind there, knowing that came out, but you weren't going to have to worry about the wave around?
Yeah, well, I was going to be in pretty good shape because we were going to be really, really tight on fuel. I don't think anybody could make it on fuel from there without saving, and I was able to make it a lap longer than most of the field, especially the main couple of guys that I was racing for the win. So I felt good about having to save less fuel. Um, Also, a lot of those guys were shifting from fourth to fifth in the corners, and that uses way more fuel. Um, I was just staying in fifth most of the time. I had to switch that up a couple of times when they got really good runs on me, and it's kind of hard to figure that out on the fly when it's not something you've been doing all race. But it worked out. Pretty fun racing Travis there for a bit, but yeah, the main thing with that caution and when it came out was, I had no idea where everybody else was at, so I was just hoping to be on the lead lap, and then hopefully have cars in between me and the other guys that I was racing, since I was just coming off pit road when that caution came out. And turned out I was on the lead lap, and those guys, had 5, 6 cars in between us. That's when we had that big wreck that took some of those guys out. So, sometimes it's skill, sometimes it's luck, and no matter what it is, we'll take it.
That's right. Well, good run for the 53 tonight. Led majority of the laps, 73 of them out of the 200 here tonight. Who do you want to shout out and thank for the big win at Charlotte tonight?
Well, a huge shout out to EXR, Burns, especially there at the end. He was doing what he could to be a good teammate while also racing for the lead. We had kind of done something earlier in the race as well when he was in the lead, and I was just kind of dumping in a little extra dirty air on those guys, not racing them too hard, trying to help us both save tire. We kind of did that a little bit, yeah, there at the end, but he couldn't really save too much. But he was definitely a big help in keeping some of those guys back, letting it be the two of us to figure it out at the end. Shout out to Caleb and Jeff. I know they had tough nights tonight, but always happy to have those guys with us. And then Chapman Environmental Services, ChapmanES.com, 300 here tonight. So that's pretty cool. Get them in victory lane. Beyond that, you've got all the normal sponsors. You got Buttkicker, you got Coastal Financial, you got Erhardt Homes, you've got All About Bugs, you've got probably a couple that I'm missing. I'll just hope that Burns comes in here and remembers all the rest of them. And shout out to the Blue Ridge Fire Department too, man. They're pretty cool. I know Burns has a connection to them, and I don't think he was able to get it in victory lane last race they had it sponsored. So big shout out to them. And I think that covers it. You guys up at V Speed too. Thanks for sticking this one out. These
You
ones are
bet.
long.
Was a fun race to watch for sure. But that is your winner,
Absolutely.
Robert Rader. Congratulations on winning the longest race of the season, at least distance-wise, here at Charlotte. And we will catch you next week. All-Star Racing, probably.
Yeah, looking forward to it. We'll see what happens.
Right on. We will catch you then.
Thank
We are
you very
gonna-
much, guys. Have a good night.
You bet.
You as well.
results for Charlotte. We're going to go right down trackside straight to the driver interviews. We are a little bit out of sorts here. Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a quick commercial break. That's what we're going to do, even watching Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series here on V-Speed. We'll be back right after these quick commercials with interviews of second and third place here tonight.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
And here comes Milo, big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Martin's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh!
No, gets burned!
Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes
Slack.
Slack.
A punch from the 33.
It's a drag race.
The Magic Man wins it Auto Club.
Back here live on V-Speed. Been watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. ChapmanES.com 200 here at Charlotte. On tap for you now, we have your second and third place finishers. Let's get down trackside. Alex Gagnon has caught up with Kyle Diaz.
So we're going to catch up here with the driver of the 26 who brought it home in third place this evening. Kyle Diaz, congrats on the podium. What was it going to take to try and reel in the leaders there on that last stage? It seemed like you were closing in, maybe just ran out of time a little bit.
Yeah, it did seem like I was closing in a little bit right there, but it would have been a tough pass either way because arrow matters so much, and then just the guys in front of me, they're just so hard to pass. They're really good, but overall happy with the result I had tonight. I had to like battle through a little bit of adversity, but still managed to bring it home third. So solid night, I guess.
Yeah, solid points day for you, and ultimately up 14 spots was going pretty good there for you. What was it
Yeah,
like trying to pass out there tonight? It seemed like it was difficult across the board for a lot of folks.
uh, it was really difficult. Like in the beginning of the runs, like you would just need to wait for like the tires to set in a little bit, like 10, 15 laps, and then it was easier to pass after that point when the tires got like the heat in them and a little bit of wear. But overall, a really fun night tonight. I had a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like you were having a pretty good time out there making your way through the field. Ultimately, solid run for you. How does this cross into the rest of the season here? Obviously, a good run here going into the All-Star race next weekend. How are you feeling about North Wilkesboro?
North Wilkesboro, that, I haven't had that much practice at that track, but I've had a few races there. But definitely gonna need some practice there for the All Star race. But I'm just happy with the run that I had after all the stuff that I've been through this season. Like some of it my fault and some of it not, but just happy to be here. Just first interview in the Cup Series this year, and just proud about it.
Yeah, it was a good run for
Absolutely.
that
We're hoping.
26 for
Oh,
sure.
go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Now we're hoping. I was just gonna say we hope to have you up here more often as well. First time appearance in the booth. Also, I just realized I actually don't officially know. Morgan, you might know. Is the All Star race at North Wilkesboro? I just realized the schedule doesn't say.
That's my understanding. This All-Star
Okay.
race obviously a little bit shifted due to last week's Coke 600 and all of the drivers being at that event made it difficult to have a regularly scheduled Wednesday event, but that is neither here nor there. I think next week we are at Wilkesboro.
Cool. Well, either way, Kyle, first time in the booth here. Great to have you up here. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out while you're up here?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'd like to thank my mom and dad, my teammates at Racing for Freedom, Devin Hudgens, Tay McDonald, and Travis Gilbert, of course. Those guys are awesome. It's fun racing with them every weekend. And just shout out to you guys for putting on these broadcasts. They're really good, professional, just awesome. And also thanks to Chapman Environmental Services, Buttkicker, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Coastal Financial, Erhardt Homes, All About Bugs, Racing Revolution, of course, and Vet to Track. All those sponsors, they're just awesome, and it wouldn't be possible without them.
Alrighty. Well, congrats on the podium finish there, Kyle. Great run for you. And truthfully, we really do hope that we get to see you again in the booth here real soon. Hopefully, the first of many for you in the 26 machine.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good night now.
You as well.
Excellent
And
sponsor
that
read.
was third place finisher Kyle Diaz, making sure he knew everybody he needed to thank.
You can tell he was ready for that interview. Good for the 26. We're going to move one step up the podium, catch up with the mountain man himself, Jeremy Burns.
Jeremy, congrats on the podium finish here tonight. Brought it home second, led a bunch of laps. What would you have needed there in the closing stage to get around the 53 for the win?
Just a little bit more tires. They just got so hot there in the last few laps that they really couldn't do a whole lot with it. But overall, it was a really good day for the team, right? Finishing 1-2 is something that you can't hang your hat on. So, just really proud of it. It was a long race. So exhausted, man. Just 200 laps around Charlotte. It can wear you down, especially on long green flag runs like we had tonight. But, that was a really good race overall. And, it just ended up being a situation where Rob and I were 1-2 there at the end. And really the reason why we got in to that position is because we restarted on the bottom and, we were teaming up there. So being able to kind of play a team car as well, knowing that I wasn't probably going to get by him. So do a little bit of aero blocking to make sure that those other guys stayed back. But once we got them side by side, I knew that it was going to be between me and him. And I tried giving it my best shot, but just it wasn't in the cards for tonight.
Yeah, just a little bit short, but still a very solid run for you. I also am curious, that late caution comes out the middle of the final pit cycle. Some cars had already come down pit road. You had stayed out. I would love to know what your game plan was before that caution was coming out, because it looked like you were extending it a few more laps than the rest of the field. Were you banking on a caution coming out, or were you just strategy-wise trying to let it run?
I was just, it wasn't even that. I was really just trying to run as long as I could. That way I didn't have to save any fuel in the last run. And it's always nice to have a little bit of extra for overtime, right? Just in case you get that caution with 5 to go. But luckily, that next lap I was gonna have to pit, but the caution came out, so I hit the brakes so that the pace car would have to come out in front of me. And yeah, it was also fortunate for my teammate Rob, who ended up winning because the pace car let him by there, going past him. So that allowed him to cycle back in front of the lead, and that put me in second because Trevor and I both had to pit there on that lap because we couldn't go any further. So it ended up working out. Wasn't the reason, the reason why I did it isn't how it worked out, but it worked out at the end. And sometimes you don't ask how, you just say okay, and you accept the good luck sometimes.
Sometimes you just sit there and all, and like, well, it'd be a shame not to take advantage of the current situation. Um,
Yeah.
Ultimately, a lot of momentum through the opening part of the season. And then next week we've got the All Star race. How would you assess the season that you've had to this point, knowing that the success that you and Element X Racing have had through the opening half of the season here?
Well, first off, the team has been so successful, right? I mean, you look at the races. I don't know how many we've won as a percentage of the whole racing league, but I mean, it's got to be up there near 50 or even more than 50. So, really proud of all of them. Personally, uh, really good through these the first half of the season. I think we got what, 3 wins and 3 on different tracks. So I think we won at Coda, Vegas, and then we won at Richmond. So win on all the different types of tracks is really good to carry that momentum. And even when we don't win, where we're up there in the top 5, top 10, and really the only off weeks that I can think of out of the top of my head was Atlanta, which super speedway, and then what was it last week? I can't remember where I raced at, but I sped on pit road, and that was really what I thought was the first true mistake of the season. So we're halfway through a season like this, and that's your first mistake. That's pretty good, and it's a pretty good indicator, especially when you're wrapping up with top tens, top fives, and you can see with the points lead, the overall points lead at least, the gap that we've been able to draw out. And not to mention we have the team up there as well, 1, 2, 3, I believe. Might be different after tonight just because of Caleb's finish, but overall looking really good. I think that the goal for the second half of the season is to get even better, right? I know that sounds kind of out there, but we're always looking to improve over here, trying to push each other. I think that's why we've been so successful to this point. So when it comes to that, we're not going to change a thing. The way that we practice, we're not going to lean up because the playoffs are going to come before you know it. Rob was able to get 4 playoff points tonight, so that was really good for him, setting himself up for the playoffs. And I got to catch back up to him and get a couple more wins here before the end of the season. And for the rest of the team, we're gonna help them out as much as they can. I know Kel's able to win. I know Jeff's able to win too. So really excited for the team. Really excited personally to see what the second half of this season brings. Because after the All Star race, we go to a road course. So really looking forward to that. But yeah, I guess the personal goal is to be there at the end and put myself in a good position for the playoffs.
Nice. So it seems like everything's firing on all cylinders for you and the team right now. Excited to see if that continues going into the second half of the regular season. Anyone you'd like to thank or shout out there, Jeremy, while you're up here?
Yeah, I got to shout out my mom and dad always. Josie, my girlfriend, Dylan, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy for their continued support. Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, and Belinda, they're also supporting as well. Shout out to Blue Ridge Volunteer Fire Department for having a sponsor on the core panel tonight. And shout out to all the servicemen and women out there who put their lives on the line. Got to go to the Coke 600 this weekend, so it was really cool to see all the stuff that they do honoring the fallen soldiers and even those who are in current and active duty. So shout out to them. Shout out to first responders as well, police, fire, rescue, for their, the world wouldn't go around without them, right? There's always gonna be somebody there to pick up the line. So shout out to all of them. Shout out to the team, Chapman Environmental, Buttkicker, Coast Financial, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, All About Bugs, and of course you guys over here at V-Speed. Y'all do a phenomenal job, and I can't wait to go back and watch some green flag racing. So, and then also shout out to all the admins and the drivers once again, keeping it as clean as possible. And yeah, we look forward to going into the All-Star race. Hopefully, got pushed back again, but hopefully looking forward to go in with the SRX cars and see what we can do at North Wilkes.
Alrighty. Well, congrats on the run there, Jeremy. Solid P2 effort for you tonight. Led a bunch of laps, and we'll go in with a bunch of momentum to North Wilkesboro next week. Congrats, and we hope to see you again up here real soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was Jeremy Burns, second place finisher here tonight. The pole sitter led 35 laps, came up just one position short of picking up the victory.
I mean, he couldn't have done much more than that. Obviously, Robert Rader kind of had this field on lock here tonight. Did everything he had to do to go out there and win this race as he did. You've been watching a presentation of the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. We're going to have a quick look ahead to next week, right after we talk about our race sponsor, ChapmanES.com 200. One in the same as the title sponsor of this league, sponsor the longest race of the year. Good on them. Quick look ahead. Next week, All-Star race. Schedule a little bit off due to last week's change at the last minute due to the Coke 600. But we will be SRX racing those cars at North Wilkesboro in 1 week's time. That will be June the 5th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on V-Speed. Flag-to-flag coverage all season long right here. If you enjoyed tonight's race, be sure to click that like button, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a single race. We have more content throughout the week, every day that ends in Y. Always great to watch content here on V-Speed on YouTube. For everyone at V-Speed, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Bradley Cooper, and my co-commentator, Alex Gagnon, I've been Morgan Cook. Have a great evening. Thank you, and good night.